Carlson skates the line near side to Rust, shoots and scores. 39 seconds in, Blues could not clear it. First shot on goal goes in glove side.
Here's another 2-on-1.
Here they come in. It's Malkin this time right in the middle. Malkin centers, tap in goal. Mantha, he scores. 2 goals in the first 55 seconds of the hockey game. Look out, breakaway. In. Shooting, Hofer the save. Rebound. Crosby, he scores. A bad break at the blue line for the Blues. 5-3 Pittsburgh. And the St. Louis Blues are going to come home trying to snap a 4-game losing streak.
Yeah, poor start. Made a couple of mistakes in the first 2 minutes, and their top 2 lines made us pay.
That's what it sounded like last night right here in your home of the Blues, 101 ESPN. The voice you just heard was Jim Montgomery, who was once again frustrated with his team's effort. Blues lose 6-3 last night in Pittsburgh. Alex, I know they put together a little bit of a comeback in that one. They played well for most of the first period. Unfortunately, the first minute does matter. And they forgot about that.
Does it? I didn't think it did.
T-Bone hadn't even opened up the game yet. We texted him, said, what the hell's going on?
Yeah. I looked up, I thought, they probably gave up a goal.
Nope, down 2-0. Blues have now left the first period, either down or tied in 7 of their 9 games. They aren't getting off to good starts. Alex, I make fun sometimes of people that consistently say, I got to get off to that good start. Well, here we go. Can we start? Baby steps here. Blues tonight, my recommendation, get off to a good start.
It's not even get off to a good start. It's just understand you're playing a hockey game when that puck drops. Like, understand that team on the other side of the puck, they're not going to wait for the game to, come to them. They're going to go out there and they're going to just be like, cool, we're going to score before you score.
Blues started their 4th line. Penguins started their top line.
Sidney Crosby had to have been like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So it didn't go well. I'll open this up to you, Alex. What was your biggest takeaway from the 6-3 loss, 4th consecutive loss for the Blues?
Look, guys, let me talk to you about bad puck luck. Okay, because that's what it was last night. It was bad puck. No, I'm not even gonna give that BS to you right now. That was just it was a game that.
It was a game.
I don't even know if it was a game. It was a game at some point. It was a game that you started off expecting the game to come to you, and Pittsburgh essentially said, no, bleep this, we're going to get the puck into the zone. Like, the first goal was scored, you didn't get it out. You turned it over in the defensive zone when you had it on your stick, and Pittsburgh kept it alive. The second goal, you just missed your coverage. Jimmy Snuggerud was skating back with Mantha. Mantha just stood right in front of the net, but see, that one wasn't the problem to me as much as it was Malkin skating through the neutral zone into the offensive zone real easily, going through the middle of the ice, and then having time to look over at Mantha and make the pass. It's just, look, it is just a bad spot right now for the Blues. They're lacking confidence. When one thing goes wrong, the snowball starts to come at them. You saw that last night. I'll give them credit because after that second goal went in, Montgomery didn't call a timeout. He basically said, you guys figure this issue out yourself. And they did. They were the better team for the rest of the first period, but the problem was they just got outplayed in the second.
It is not all on the goalies. Let me say this again. It is not all on the goalies.
T-Bone, did you hear him say that this is all the goalie's fault? That's what I heard.
However...
Ooh, the however.
Eventually, you're going to need to make a timely save. And Joel Hofer has been the single biggest issue for the St. Louis Blues this year. I don't know how else to put it. I think Joel Hofer's a good goalie. I think he is potentially the future starting goalie here in St. Louis. I think he'll work himself out of this. Right now, though, he's unplayable. And that's a problem for the Blues because they need this split with Jordan Binnington. We've talked about this for years. Benner is at his best when he gets the rest that he's needed. Well, he can't get that right now because Joel Hofer, in most of his appearances, has to be pulled out of there, has to be yanked out of there because they can't overcome his mistakes. And last night, Alex, I agree with you. There were a couple of those goals that just aren't on him. It's defensive coverages, it's forwards, it's puck management, it's all of these other things that you can blame it on. But sometimes you got to overcome those mistakes. Mm-hmm. You need your goalie to sometimes stand on his head and just make a save that you don't expect him to. And right now, Hofer's not making those saves. In fact, it's the opposite. Right now, it's gimmies. that are just like, what's going on, dude? He's in his own head. And I can't explain it. I don't know how long it will take to get this thing figured out, but I think it will eventually get figured out. They need it to happen, though, soon, and they can't stop playing him. I saw some criticism last night of like, how could you go back to Hofer? What do you want him to do? Yeah. It's a back-to-back. You have to play Joel Hofer. He's here. Like, you have to go to him. It's like hiding somebody in your bullpen in Major League Baseball.
Dude, doesn't go well. Ask the Cardinals.
Eventually, you're going to play 5 out of 6, and you're going to need to go to that dude. There's no hiding him. You're going to have to go to Ryan Fernandez at some point, and it's going to be a critical situation. It might be on the road at Pittsburgh, and you might end up getting walked off in the 10th inning because there's no other choice. That's what happened to the Cardinals. It's what's happening right now with Joel Hofer. They have to get this thing figured out for him. They're going to have to continue going to him. He's just got to be better, man. Yeah. He's got to be better for them.
I mean, there's no better way to put it than just he doesn't have any confidence right now. I mean, you could just see it when a shot comes in. That's the third goal, the one that gave Pittsburgh the lead, that Witherspoon goal. Man, he was so aggressive in going from post to post that he missed his spot and he never got set up. There are some goals that, like, dude, defensive breakdowns. Like Mantha standing in front of the net by himself. Can somebody stop the guy who's carrying the puck in the offensive zone?
Hey, Parayko and Fowler, you've got to be better than this. You have to be.
I mean, like Jim Montgomery talks about the leadership all the time. Well, your top 3 defensemen, the guys that have been here long, they're the ones that are out there playing 24 minutes a night, and it is just too easy right now for the other side to get the puck in the offensive zone. There's no standing up at the blue line. There's no forcing the team to dump the puck, because that's where things get hard for the opposition. When they dump the puck, you've got 2 incredible goaltenders that can play it behind the net. Then the whole transition game's over. But the problem is they're not dumping the puck. They're just saying, cool, you're going to give me this space. I'm going to skate in. I'm going to get set up. I'm going to circle around, and I'm going to find my open space, and we're going to shoot the puck.
You want to hear some goal suppression numbers for the Blues?
Oh.
Yeah, sure.
They've allowed 6 or more goals in 3 consecutive games. They've only done that twice in the last 30 years. They have now allowed 39 goals through their first 9 games of the season. It's their most in the first 9 games of the season since 1993.
Oh, that's pre-T-bomb.
Only 2 teams in the last 25 years have given up this many goals through the first 9 games of the season and still made it to the postseason.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
The 2023 Kings and the 2018 Penguins.
Yeah. I'm not worried about the postseason. It's still far off, but they got to figure their ish out right now, because by the time you get to Thanksgiving, if this continues to be a problem, man, you got 2 sets of back-to-backs in November. You play a lot of games in a condensed schedule. If you don't figure this out now, you're going to rely on another 12-game win streak to potentially put you in the position, and I don't know if that's going to cut it this year for how good everyone else is around you.
And you also just can't count on that.
Yeah.
It was historic in nature, and it felt so amazing while we were witnessing it, because that doesn't happen. It's happened like 3 times in the last 20 years. The Blues are one of them, and they also had a miraculous 2019. Like, this stuff just doesn't happen. I'm not panicked about this, Alex. I am concerned. I'm absolutely concerned.
You'd be crazy not to be concerned.
And my concern level continues to rise with every game that we see where it doesn't get corrected. Because right now, man, I'm blaming Hofer as like the number 1 reason why the Blues are struggling right now. He is far from, as you said, the only thing that is leading to these issues. Jimmy Snuggerud, I think, it's been up and down, but that coverage issue, that's a young player problem, right? And this is something that we knew going in. You're going to have to live with some of those moments where it looks bad. Logan Mailloux, better last night, I think. Do you guys agree?
Yeah.
Logan Mailloux's, best game.
But most of the season, unplayable for them. And you look at their best players, most of them haven't been performing very well. Colton Parayko and Cam Fowler have not been good the last couple of
combined
games.
Combined -12 in the last 3 games.
You mentioned Justin Falk. Pavel Buchnevich just not looking right so far this season. Thank God for Jordan Kyrou. Thank God for Jake Neighbours. Those guys have been really good. Dylan Holloway, where you at, dude? Better lately, but where you at? It's got to get better than what it's been production-wise. This team is just not living up to their early season expectations. We're only 9 games in. It is still, relatively speaking, early. We can only say that for so long, though, before we look at this and say to ourselves, like, dude, it's almost November.
And because of the Thanksgiving mark, as we know, or whatever the percentage is of teams that are in the playoff picture when you get to Thanksgiving stay in the playoff picture all year. It's getting late quickly for the St. Louis Blues. I agree, it's early now, but we are getting close to it being late already because I think there's 16 games or 15 games maybe before they get to Thanksgiving break. They got to really turn it on in that stretch. Otherwise, we're going to be having the same conversations that we had last year.
This all comes down to their best players playing a more connected brand of hockey. It does still feel a little like there's just individuals playing out there. I looked at this earlier or last night. The last year, the Blues were 30-2 when they scored 4 or more goals.
What's their record this year when they do that?
Their record this year is 2-4. They have scored 4+ goals 6 times, and they have only won twice.
Twice as many games this year when scoring 4 or more goals as you did the entirety of last season?
Yep. Utah, Detroit, and then Pittsburgh. And then you lost the game earlier this season, who was against, Chicago. Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, at some point, and Mike Kelly said this yesterday, this is not going to be an offensive-heavy team.
2 losses this year when scoring 4
2
or more.
losses, okay. So
they've tied they have the same number of losses this year when scoring 4 or more goals as they did the entirety of last year. A reminder, they're 10% of the way through the season.
Yep.
Last year they did that in 82 games. This year they've done it in 9 games.
Yeah, but
They had done it in the first 8.
They did win twice when they did it.
That's good. 500 record.
No, they lost 3 times when they've scored 4 or more goals. Utah, Detroit, Pittsburgh. And then they won twice. So you're 2-3.
Am I missing something?
They might not have updated it from last night's game.
They scored 3 goals last night.
I wrote down 4 on my stat book.
That would have been more helpful.
I feel like I'm missing something here. I keep looking back.
Look, I wrote down 4.
Who scored that other goal?
I don't know. I made it up. This is what they're doing to me. God, that's the first mistake I've made
My
in the
OCD
stat book.
medicine is working because I don't think I got tone there.
I got tone in myself. I messed
think
the book
I must
up.
be missing something here.
God.
I don't know
Hey,
what's going
give
on.
that extra goal to Holloway. He could use it.
No, I'm not giving it to anybody. I'm
With an
more
assist
pissed
to
off that I
Thomas.
ruined the book. Last season, I started game 1 on the second page, and now I did this. I need a night off. T-Bone, you got pregame tonight.
Just for those keeping track at home, the entire list of teams in the NHL this season with a worse points percentage than the Blues: Calgary, San
they're
Jose,
Them too.
Boston.
Oh.
End of list.
Boston started off pretty good.
Well, they are now 4-7 through the first 11 games of the season.
I think Calgary's only won 1 game all year.
Somebody said Alex must have written down the expected goals from last night.
No, the expected goals were probably better than.
I don't think they were. I think they were 3-2.
No, their offense wasn't very
They
good.
were
It's like
not good
3.25.
at just about anything.
Look, man,
last night.
maybe I'm just trying to imagine more success for this Blues team right now.
Yeah, that we're all trying to do that, buddy. We're all trying to will this thing
Put it into the
reality.
atmosphere.
Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. It's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. If you guys would like to get involved in the show, 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line. To do so, you can always check us out on YouTube at youtube.com/101 ESPN STL. Coming up in 15 minutes, we're going to dive into some NFL quick hitters, including I'll get your opinions on what we saw last night in Monday Night Football. T-Bone, do you have some chin hair going on?
Yeah, I was too tired to shave this morning.
I just saw that as I looked over. I was like, T-Bone actually has
It was
some
a late
facial
night
hair
watching
coming in.
baseball.
He's trying to follow our lead, Alex.
Something a little bit past the alarm today. I didn't want to shave.
How long do you get till you get here?
A year, probably.
I think we should keep it going. That should be his punishment.
I never lose. You're awful.
I know. You're right. If and when he loses,
better
he
chill
should
over
have
there.
to go 6 months of no shave
6
just
months.
to find out where
Well, it is almost November, so
There you go.
I'm not doing no shave.
I think you should.
My baby face makes me look professional.
All right, so in 15 minutes, we'll get your thoughts on Monday Night Football. The Chiefs
that makes you look like an adult.
They looked amazing once
Looks like
again,
an-
so we'll
on
get
a
into that in
razor.
15 minutes. But next, I think we just witnessed one of the greatest World Series games of all time. We'll see how much of it Alex was able to stay up for next year on 101 ESPN.
deep right field, towards the corner. Goodbye! Ohtani goes deep. And the Dodgers lead game 3 on a pair of solo home runs, 2-0. Ohtani on a center cut fastball. Blast one, and ties it. Shohei! 5-5. Freeman sends a fly ball to center field. Varsho's going back before the catch strikes me. Barry Freeman has ended it. It's a repeat hero with the last word on a Game 3 classic.
A truly spectacular game last night on Fox. That's what it sounded like. Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Alex, how long did you make it in that one?
13th inning.
13, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I went into extras. I saw somebody being real snarky on the YouTube chat. Yes, I made it to extras, but I then watched the 12th or 13th inning and I'm like, this isn't worth it.
T-Bone and I were texting back and forth as we got
I had
to like the
79.
16th.
At one point,
79 missed text messages when I woke up.
I'm not even going to lie. At one point, I just kind of assumed BK went to bed.
Were you texting with yourself?
No. But
He
like,
stopped
there was like,
texting,
I
and
stopped
then-
texting because it was like 12:30, 1 o'clock. I was like, BK probably went to bed. He's now old and he's got a kid at home.
Yeah.
And then he says a text at like 1 a.m. Alex, you still up? And I'm like, wait, BK's still up.
My wife was asleep and I'm laying in bed and I'm like, man, I got a back-to-back tomorrow night. Like, this isn't worth it. And so I rolled over and went to sleep at the 13th.
Kara is desperate for Toronto to win this series.
Oh, me too.
She's like many others where she's just sick of the Dodgers winning all the time. I told her, I was like, Kara, that she likes the Chiefs because I like the Chiefs. She's like, this is kind of like the Chiefs, you know? It's not really
So
all
she
that
hates
different.
the
And she's
Chiefs?
like, no, it feels different though. I was like, cool, I'm good with that. So she's rooting for Toronto, and she gets extremely anxious in these games as it gets tight and late and all of this stuff. And so we get to like the 13th, 14th inning. She's like, I can't breathe as I'm watching this. And then we got to about the 15th, and she's like, all right, now I'm kind of bored. I need something to happen here. So she went and took a shower. I'll tell you how I watched the final out, Alex.
Is this
or
where
the
you tell
final
us
play.
you had no emotional ties to it and then you're going to go on a 5-minute rant?
No. So I'm watching it on the screen. It's the 18th inning, right? And I look over at Carol. I think we should probably go to bed. At this point, it's like 1:45 a.m. local time. And
I
so
was in my REM cycle at that time.
sure. I get ready to turn it off the TV. I'll just put it on my phone. We can watch it while we're laying down in bed. So I switch it over to my phone, my streaming on my phone. She's like, if this ends as you're switching this from the TV to the phone, I'm going to lose my mind. Guess what happened as I turned on
Freeman hits a shot to center.
all I see is the fireworks going off, and it says home run Dodgers. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. So BKO, once again, I didn't actually see live
Trash
the
move,
home
dog.
run after
Gotta wait till
watching
commercial
6
break.
hours of baseball last night.
What kind of psychopath are you that you transition a game in the middle of it?
Leadoff hitter?
Yes, which is why I was like, I'm good to go.
Yeah, but why do you wait? You had the whole commercial break.
What are you doing?
I had seen the same 7 commercials
You're a
100
You're a
times.
psychopath.
They ran out of commercials to run during the game because we got so deep into this thing. Let me start with this. Shohei Ohtani's a monster. T-Bone had some unbelievable stats. T-Bone, give us like your 2 favorite Shohei Ohtani stats for what he's
Only
doing
2?
right now in the postseason.
So, my first favorite one is here are his last 13 plate appearances at Dodger Stadium. Homer, walk, homer, homer, double, homer, intentional walk, intentional walk, intentional walk, walk.
Toronto figured it out.
Yeah, they learned, hey, that guy's not going to beat us. The last time he made an out on Dodger Stadium was all the way back on October 12th, which is about 2 weeks ago now. That might be my personal favorite stat of his.
It's absolutely absurd what Shohei Ohtani is doing. And this is what we were all hoping for, right? Like, one of the things that made that World Baseball Classic so special is you got to see Shohei Ohtani in the biggest possible moment. And for most of his major league career, we've been robbed of that because he played for the godforsaken Angels. And so they would never get to the postseason. So we just never got to see his greatness on the biggest stage. And last year he was good, solid, but not spectacular during their postseason run. This year has been otherworldly. This postseason, Alex, he has 2 doubles, a triple, and 8 home runs, which is good for 11 extra base hits in 13 postseason games. It's crazy what he's putting together. In extra innings, every time up until that final at-bat for him, they intentionally walked him, and it was the correct decision to do so. Because you just can't let that guy beat you. Anybody else in their lineup, which includes like 3 future Hall of Famers, anybody else, we can live with it. But that dude is not going to beat us. We can't let that guy find a way to do it. The Cardinals could have really used this back in like 2013 when they were going up against David Ortiz and, the whole Big Papi situation happened. But it's nuts, man. Watching him right now on the biggest stage, there is no other way to get him out other than just go take your first base. Because the alternative is you're going to be standing on second or worse by the time that this at-bat ends.
Yeah, I mean, it's like prime what Albert Pujols was. The only difference is Pujols never could pitch, and Shohei's a Cy Young winner.
Yeah, I was going to say, he mentioned his offensive numbers. Dude, this is coming off of a 6-inning, 2-hit, 10 strikeout performance.
I mean, like, I hate saying you're never going to see a talent like this again because, at some point you might, but it feels like you'll never see something like this again. How elite he is with his bat and also how elite he is on the mound. And honestly, that's why I went to bed. Not because I was tired. It's just, what's going to happen. Like, it just felt like as the longer that game went on, the less likely the Blue Jays were going to win. And it's not because of Ohtani. It's because as soon as you start walking Ohtani, cool, deal with the other two-headed monster that you got to worry about with Betts or Freeman.
The number of just like random players that had to make huge plays in that game to get it to where it was.
Edmund made a couple big ones defensively.
Ridiculous defensively. And listen, this guy isn't random, but Guerrero's throw was
unbelievable.
Absurd. One of the best throws I've ever seen by a first baseman. Will Klein, who I don't know about you guys, but I would assume the vast majority of casual baseball fans had never heard of prior to last night. That guy was unreal. He's throwing like 98 miles per hour in his 4th inning of work. As a pro, he had never thrown 4 innings. I'm not talking about as a major leaguer. As a professional at any level of baseball, post-college, had never thrown more than 3 innings because he's a reliever by trade. And then he goes out there yesterday, 4 innings, 5 strikeouts, allowed 1 hit against that Blue Jays lineup. I mean, just an insane game in every possible way. Fun as hell to watch for the full 18 innings. It feels like that was it for Toronto, though, man.
Yeah, that was it. You don't go to 18 innings and lose and come back in that World Series. That was the exhaustion point where it was like, how do you beat this team?
They have lived up to every possible expectation. I mean, game 1, they win. And not only win, they pretty much dominated that game. Game 2, yeah, it was Dodgers happened. And then game 3, you're right there. You're right there on the cusp of beating what we all assumed was the inevitable LA Dodgers going into this series. The Blue Jays have acquitted themselves incredibly well so far in this series in the first 3 games. That the Dodgers just were able to come up with that 1 extra hit yesterday. Once you got to those extra innings, it felt like the Blue Jays lineup just went completely flat. Yeah. They had no juice left in them, and that's where you could feel the depth of the Dodgers because the Dodgers were consistently getting guys on and getting them over. They just couldn't get them in. The Blue Jays almost never reached base, and when they did, I think like the 17th inning or something like that was the first time in extras that the Blue Jays got a guy to third. They just didn't even have anybody that was creating any kind of traffic on the bases. Their lineup was completely stagnant, and that's related to George Springer getting hurt in the game. It's related to Bo Bichette. T-Bone, I know you didn't love that move. Him coming out because of the defensive replacement in the 7th. Alejandro Kirk coming out because of the pinch run situation with Tyler Heineman. So half of their lineup was out of the game. Meanwhile, the Dodgers just basically kept their entire starting lineup in there the entirety of that game.
Yeah, I don't know how you come back from that if you're the Blue Jays and you missed a real prime opportunity. I think it was the 13th inning, and we were texting about it at like 12:30 while Alex was dreaming about sheep or something. But I thought Dave Roberts, I think John Schneider managed that game perfectly for the Toronto Blue Jays. The one thing I didn't like was the Bichette decision to go with the defensive replacement, but that's like, I'm one of very few that would disagree on that one. But the way he handled hey, we're going to continue to walk Ohtani, even though like he is the winning run, and then you get to face, next Hall of Famer and Mookie Betts. Oh, and by the way, walking Ohtani, walking Mookie Betts to get to Freddie Freeman, who eventually hit the walk-off home run, but it worked out that time around. I thought he managed that game perfectly. They just couldn't come up with that big hit, to your point, and I don't know how you recover from that from Toronto, because whoever lost that game, they said on the broadcast last night, any team that wins Game 3 and goes up 2-1 has won the World Series 70% of the time. And not only do you have to know about that number in the back of your head, now that you're Toronto and you lost that game, you have no bullpen arms to really go to today. And same for the LA Dodgers, but at least the Dodgers just won a little bit of wiggle room by capturing Game 3. And you had to rely on Shane Bieber, who is a decent pitcher, Shane Bieber is, coming off of Tommy John surgery, right? I don't think he's at his best peak yet that he was when he was with the Cleveland Guardians. They need him to eat 5 or 6 innings tonight, and I don't know that you can ask from that. So that's why this feels like it was so important for the Toronto Blue Jays to win this game here.
Text line brings up the 13th inning. Blue Jays had the bases loaded in the 13th. Kershaw gets the guy to ground out to Edman there. I 100% thought the game was ending there.
Agreed.
100%
That's when
thought
I
it was
rolled
ending.
over when I was like, oh, this game's freaking going on even further.
I thought they were going to bring in Kershaw, and he was going to screw it up.
Grand slam.
I thought he was going to screw it up. Just give up something there.
No, he only screws up against the
then
Cardinals.
It was going to be another moment where we look at it. It's like you had nobody else that you could go to. It had to be Kershaw. Like it had to be that guy of all people coming out of the bullpen, but he gets him to ground out, and ultimately Dodgers get the win last night. It's been a hell of a series thus far. Another game tonight between the Dodgers and the Blue Jays. We'll see what the Blue Jays are able to muster up against, yes, Shohei Ohtani on the
Just
mound
walk 'em.
for the Dodgers. Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll get into questions and answers, but next, good game last night in the NFL if you're a Chiefs fan, not so much if you're a fan of literally anybody else. The Chiefs have a commanding 28-7 lead against Washington yesterday. We'll see what your biggest takeaways were from that game as we get into some NFL quick hitters next here on BK and Ferrario.
Tanner Hendrickson here with a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Blues were in action last night as they fell to the Pittsburgh Penguins 6-3. They'll be back in action tonight as they come back home, where they'll take on the Detroit Red Wings. Well, pregame coverage tonight starting at 6:15 with Alex Ferrario and puck drop at 7:15 with Chris Kerber and Joey Vitale. And last night, an instant classic in the World Series. Game 3, Dodgers beat the Blue Jays on a walk-off solo home run by Freddie Freeman in the bottom of the 18th inning. Game 4 will be tonight at 7 o'clock as Shohei Ohtani takes the mound for the Dodgers against Shane Bieber. This Sports Center update was driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See Milanoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Alongside Alex and T-Bone on BK, let's dive into some NFL quick hitters. Let's start out with last night's Monday Night Football game between the Chiefs and the Commanders. Alex, in the first half, looked like Washington might be able to put up a good fight. Chiefs throw a couple of interceptions. That drive right before the half didn't have a whole lot going for it. Commanders were able to maintain a decent amount of possession time. Going to half, it's 7-7. And then suddenly, in the second half, Chiefs drives were 8 plays, 80 yards, touchdown. 8 plays, 75 yards, touchdown. 13 plays, 94 yards, touchdown. 7-7 at half. 28-7 midway through the fourth quarter. Boom, game over. This is what we used to see out of the Chiefs. It is not what we have seen from them in quite a while, where they have this ability to just go on a crazy run similar to what the Warriors were doing in their heyday. Alex, what did you learn from last night's Monday Night Football game between the Chiefs and Washington?
I learned absolutely nothing from their offense because I thought once they got Rice back, that offense was going to be elite. I think I've learned more about their defense. And it's hard to judge off of a Raiders team that's not any good and a Commanders team that didn't have Jaden Daniels. But BK loved to throw the stat at us yesterday. The Chiefs can't beat Marcus Mariota. Dude, their defense has figured it out. And I thought it was going to be their Achilles heel all season long. 17 points against the Lions, a shutout against the Raiders, and then only 7 against the Commanders, who at least they had their 2 weapons back with Deebo Samuel and Terry McLaurin. So the defense is legit now. I don't know if it's as elite as the offense is, but they've got the pass rush. They've figured it out schematically, and now you're just talking about another juggernaut.
So much of it is the offense helping the defense, because when you get into these big leads, you force the opposition to be one-dimensional. They can't run the football. Also, the Chiefs' run defense has been quite good this year, but they can't run the football because of game script. You're down by 10-plus points. And now suddenly the Chiefs, you've got Steve Spagnuolo and his blitz packages, and he's able to just come after you. Good luck.
Yep.
It confuses quarterbacks. You've got a decent pass rush when you're able to scheme it up a little bit. Chris Jones gets home and bang, good night, Marcus Mariota. It's a tough spot for these opposing offenses. And now next week you get to see them against the Buffalo Bills. They're on the road. First I saw it was Chiefs minus 1.5. Yeah, that's where it's landed right now. Chiefs are a 1.5-point road favorite at Buffalo. Oh, boy, this is going to be a fun one for me going up against Donnie.
Poor Donnie.
I know.
Be a good one.
He's getting under his
Stop
skin
texting
yesterday.
Donnie, okay?
Yeah, seriously.
You never texted back
Yeah,
last
because
night.
he hates you. Come on, man.
I think me and Donnie have a good
I
relationship.
think he despises
Did you see him in the
you.
office today? No.
You did not stop by,
Donnie might be
actually.
going through it right now. 1, the Chiefs, and then 2, the Blues. Tune into the Last Minute Blues podcast tomorrow because, oh boy, Donnie's going to be ready to go.
T-Bone, what'd you learn last night?
Yeah, their offense to me, we've known this since Rice has come back. Their offense is back at an unbelievable level to where, I think they probably coast through the AFC. To me, they feel as inevitable as what the Dodgers felt like, and that is so freaking annoying. Defensively, I don't know that I'm willing to buy in yet that the defense is completely fixed because it was Marcus Mariota. I think I could make a lot of defenses look good going against him. Same with what the Raiders are. I think the next 4 will really tell you where their defense is at. At the Bills, as you mentioned, then at the Broncos, who offensively have been playing better of late, and then you get the Colts at home, and then at the Cowboys. That 4-game stretch will really give me an idea where their defense is at. But even if the defense has question marks, I don't see a team in this AFC that's going to stop them.
I'm in full agreement with you. On the other side of things, Commanders done. Just year from hell, injuries.
Their
Daniels
defense just
hurt.
isn't good. Their defense just isn't good enough to keep them in these games, and I don't think their offense is good enough to win in shootout form unless they have a healthy Jaden Daniels, and it just seems like it's going to be an injured season for him.
There's so many similarities between where the Commanders are at this year, where the Texans found themselves a year ago, where it's like, all right, year one, CJ Stroud, unbelievable. Look at what he's done in the playoffs even. They're going to get him the weaponry that he needs, and it's going to be so good in year two, and then it just never came together. Same thing feels true right now for Washington. Now, the difference is obviously the injuries, multiple to Jaden Daniels, but this team just, even when he was healthy, didn't feel like it was coming together the same way that it did a year ago. I think they're fine. Maybe they get to 8-9 wins. Maybe that ends up being enough to get in this year's NFC. I doubt it, though, because I think the NFC is really deep right now. I think long term, I'm still good with where they're at and what they're going to be. But yeah, this team just, the defense in particular, it's not good. They look slow. They look like they need to add some juice and some youth on that side of the football.
They feel old overall, in my opinion. When you look at like some of their weapons on offense, like Zach Ertz. Like, how old is Zach Ertz? That guy I thought retired 5 years ago, let alone he's still out there catching passes for him. I agree. I kind of like where they're going directionally, but I don't know that I know where that ceiling is. And what I mean by that is, based on the way that this thing is being built right now, I don't know that it's being built towards being a true contender in the NFC. It feels like it's being built more to be like that fringe wild card team, and that's why I don't know how I feel about where they're at, because I like Daniels, I like McLaurin as their wide receiver. Debo's getting up there in age. You know, the running back room doesn't look all that impressive to me. The defense is old and slow, as we talked about. What are they building towards being like the 7th seed? Like, okay, am I supposed to be excited about that?
No, yeah, I agree. And last night was a blowout in favor of the Chiefs, and that was in theme with the entire week. There was only one game this week, guys, that was decided by fewer than 10 points. Only one decided by single digits. The other games were decided by 31-27, 24-24, 21-20, 20, 19-18, 14-11-10.
Jeez.
A rough week if you were somebody that watched a lot of football in the NFL. The Baltimore Ravens, 2-5. They won this week. Got it with their backup quarterback. It's expected that Lamar Jackson is going to be back in the starting lineup on Thursday. Stop me if you've heard this one before. They're going to be on the road at the Dolphins. It's a game they should win, especially if Lamar's back. Alex, did you know they're now the favorite to win the AFC North? According to Vegas, they're minus 120. So you have to bet $120 to win $100 for the Baltimore Ravens to win the AFC North. Again, they're 2-5, a full 2.5 games back of the Pittsburgh Steelers to win the division.
I'd believe it.
Do you think that's the right favorite for that division right now?
Yeah, you know why? Because I think everybody in the NFL saw the weakness of the Steelers this past week. And they were talking about it on Get Up yesterday morning, where it was like, look, they showcased the zone, and Rodgers looked like he didn't know what to do out there. I would imagine you're going to see a lot more teams do that on Pittsburgh's offense, and their defense can't stop anything right now. I guess the real battle is between the Bengals and Ravens, and I can't believe I'm saying that. Good God, that division is not going to be fun. But realistically, Lamar Jackson, if he's back, we'll assume he is, that offense could win in a shootout against the Dolphins, could do the same in the Vikings game, could do the same in the Browns game, in the Jets game. The Ravens one is really going to be the telling sign of who's winning that division. And then from there, it gets a little bit more difficult with the Steelers and the Patriots and the Packers. But, I mean, yeah, I could see them realistically winning their next 4 games and put themselves above 500.
Yeah, I think them being viewed as the favorites a little strong, if I'm being honest. I think they're probably the second team that I would look at right now, because I would still bet on the Steelers to win this division, just because they've got such the head start on them, right? I mean, they're 2 games better than them already. Though the defense is bad, I think offensively they're going to be fine this year with Aaron Rodgers, which I can't believe I'm saying. But I think they are the team that will win this division. But I can see how you might convince yourself of the Baltimore Ravens, because for how bad we've talked about their defense, right? There's the second worst defense in that division. I would have thought that it would be one of the worst. The worst one is the Bengals, and then Cleveland's defense is worse in terms of point differential so far this year.
Let me ask you this, though, on the Steelers. You think they could beat the Colts?
No, but I don't know that Baltimore can.
Well, they're not playing the Colts. Steelers are playing the Colts this week. Or the Steelers? Do you think the Chargers could beat the Steelers?
Chargers beat the Steelers.
I think that's close.
It's close.
It's close.
It's on the road.
Yeah, I would give it to the Chargers since it's on the road. So now they're 4-5. If the Ravens go out there and beat the Dolphins, and then who's their next opponent?
Minnesota.
If they beat those 2 teams,
and Minnesota
they're 2-4-5.
is either starting J.J. McCarthy or some random quarterback that we don't know of just yet.
So I think you're tied atop the division in 2 weeks, and then it's
they've got two head-to-head games against each other.
It's going to come down to those two, and then the games against the Bengals.
This is where I would look at this and I'd say, if you told me right now, with Lamar back, who am I taking, Pittsburgh or Baltimore? I would take Pittsburgh.
Oh, see, I'd take Baltimore with
I'd take
Lamar
Baltimore,
back.
but I think that the winner of this division is going to be 8 or 9 games.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it's going to be a high bar to clear in order to win the AFC North this year. Alongside Alex and T-Bone on BK, 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line. We'll ask questions of Jeremy Rutherford in about 15 minutes. We'll hear from you for questions and answers next here on 101 ESPN. Alex, the NBA is back, and the best place to get in on the action is with the Underdog app. Download it today if you have not done so yet. You can make entries and win money. Yes, right now here in the state of Missouri. Tonight, we've got an NBC game. Ooh. It's the Clippers versus the Warriors. It's a late-night game, so if you were having fun last night with baseball, maybe you had a little bit of action on that one for the Dodgers versus the Blue Jays. You can get in on it tonight for the Clippers versus the Warriors. I've got higher on James Harden's rebounds and assist total. I've got Jonathan Kuminga going higher on his rebound total, and I like Steph Curry to go higher on his three-pointers made in this game. You put all that together, it's about 7.5 to 1 over on the Underdog app. Check to make sure, by the way, that you've got those boosts over there as well for Boost Over.
Nailed it, BK. He just showed you how easy it is to use Underdog. You get your entries right, you can win up to 5,000 times your cash. So download the app today. Use promo code BKO to score $100 in bonus funds or bonus entries when you play your first $5. Promo code BKO. Underdog, make plays, win money. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.ncpgambling.org.
314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line for questions and answers. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and get them in right now on the Air Comfort Service text line. Jeremy Rutherford joining us here in about 10 minutes here on BK and Ferrario. From the 314, guys, are you concerned that Chaim Bloom will end up trading a player he really wasn't planning to because of Nootbaar's surgery? I think Chaim Bloom, this is my read on the situation. I don't know if this is true or not, but my guess. I think he went into the offseason saying, we're open to just about anything. And I think that's the way that most good president of baseball operations operate. Whatever comes our way, we're open to exploring opportunities, especially when we're not in our championship window. So maybe it will push them onto something that they weren't otherwise expecting. Sometimes that's how you make your best deals, though, is you end up doing something you weren't otherwise planning to. So could it? Yes. Does that necessarily make it a bad thing? No.
I'm not worried about anything Chaim's going to do because, frankly, it's a fresh slate, and I want to see some creativity. I'd much rather him make a move that you look at and you're like, oh man, you traded that guy, and hope of what's to come in return, versus not making a trade and coming back with the same roster and being like, well, we just don't want to lose these guys. No, you got to make an aggressive move at some point.
From BK's Fanny Pack, guys, why do the Blues continue to ruin my life?
You have a fanny pack?
Yeah.
You seem like a fanny pack kind of guy. You're like a cross-shoulder fanny pack kind of guy, though. You're not like a waist fanny pack guy. I don't know, man. Or ma'am. They don't. They ruin my life, too, these days. It's just not fun.
They'll be fine.
They're going to be fine, though. Like, let's get to Thanksgiving. Let's all get the turkey in our belly.
A second half team.
Those sweet potatoes.
What if some of this stuff is still happening by the time we get to Thanksgiving?
Then we can be everybody panic.
Okay.
Then we can panic. If we're at Thanksgiving and this team is like 10 games below 500, then I will sound the alarm bells. We'll start. Hold on. Let's start dinging some alarm bells if that happens. But let's pump the brakes. It's not even Halloween.
I won't panic pre-Thanksgiving unless like there's this random moment where it's like, wait, Army's having a press conference to take pressure off the coach?
You're 3 losses away from that.
Then that's when I would
we're
panic.
that far away from
I don't think we are either.
You lose this game and then you lose on Thursday. I'd say before that upcoming road trip, you might be seeing Doug Armstrong speak with the media.
Because he typically does it when they're at home.
Mm-hmm.
Before a road trip, too. And I think after Thursday, they go on the road for
I would say Friday morning.
When we'll be at Centene Community Ice Center.
We'll be there.
They'll probably be
sure
off.
he'll be
I'm
happy to
guessing
see
they'll be
us.
off, because they're going to Columbus on Saturday.
Yeah,
so
and they have a mandatory off day, so it would probably be Friday.
314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line from Chunk in the Chuck. Alex, what book do you use for your scorekeeping? I coach hockey and need a new way to track games when we're rewatching the games. I've been looking for a book like that. What do you use?
So this is one that Chris Kerber actually created himself. It's the one he's been using for the longest time, and I asked for one. This is probably like 6 years ago, and I love it right now. So I don't really know how to tell you. It's just, I'll hold it up for everybody to see. It's just, you got one side of it that's got all of the hockey line combinations and the records. And then over here, you just got the stat side of it for the game. And then you got notes down at the bottom. So I didn't come up with this. Chris Kerber came up with it. And then he makes them for a couple of the broadcasters on the Blues broadcast team. And I'm one of the lucky few that gets it. And I screwed it up last night.
314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line.
Don't worry.
For questions and answers. Guys, how many games do you think that this World Series goes after what we saw last night?
I think it's done in 5 now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man, if you're Toronto, like you're playing again tonight after you played 18 innings and you exhausted all options, that's got to be a deflating game for your offense. I hope they come back and win this one tonight, but man,
Be awesome.
It feels like a Dodgers that just kind of that was the right hook that dropped the body and it got it to about an 8 count and they got back up, but you know what's going to happen in the rest of this match.
My hope is that we can get to 6. If we can get to 6, I think we've had a pretty damn good World Series, all things considered. And then you look back at Game 3 and say, man, that was the moment where the Blue Jays could have pushed this thing to Game 7. But yeah, I think 6. I'll go 6.
I don't think they're going back to Toronto. I think it's in 5. I think they're at a disadvantage pitching-wise tonight, and then they got to go up against Snell. And look, I know they handled Snell fairly well and got him out of the game pretty quickly in Game 1. Man, I wouldn't count on doing that again against Blake Snell. Has been awesome this postseason.
314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line from Neighbours car guy Armin. No need to panic, guys. Still a long season ahead. So based on what you've seen currently, do players get traded or is Monty fired?
Monty's not going anywhere.
I don't think we can do that a fourth
Can we
year in a row.
can we stop? Like, Monty's not going anywhere. It's not a coaching problem. Is it a player problem?
Right now, yes.
Yeah,
I mean, we'll see if it continues, but right now, the players are not executing.
What's been the consistent theme for the last 4 years? We've been talking about how the players need to grab it and these slow starts. I mean, the slow starts have been a problem for the last 4 years for the Blues. So, yeah, if there was an issue, it's a player problem. You're not making any trades right now. It doesn't matter who you're going to go out there and get a fringe third liner. It's not going to make a difference for you.
Can I have an intrusive thought that's going to win and come out here?
Go for it.
They always win.
How can I feel confident they're going to turn this around if it's a player problem? In the last 3 years, it required a coach being fired to turn it around.
That's a great intrusive thought, and I don't know.
Because when I think about teams that get off to slow starts, the easy answer is fire the coach.
Your true colors come out now.
And when you have Monty on a 4 or 5 year deal, and Army has said we're not firing this guy. The last 2 years, look, Brewy was a Stanley Cup winning coach. Like, that firing sucked, but he was getting close to the end of his deal. Bannister, we always knew, was kind of a lame duck head coach. That's not the case for Jim Montgomery.
The honest answer is the biggest issue they're dealing with right now, not the only issue, the biggest issue is the goalies. Whereas previously, the biggest issue was what they were doing at 5-on-5 in front of the goalies. And so if I'm going to sell you on this, T-Bone, how much do I believe this? I don't know. But if I'm going to sell you on why you should believe that it will get changed this time, when it required a firing of the coach the last couple of times, is because there is more of a track record of these goalies being good and performing than there was about the skaters being good and performing when their struggles were at 5-on-5 in front of what the goalies were doing.
And I think the goalie issues...
That would be my sell.
I think the goalie issues are a trickle-down effect. Like, if you don't feel confident with your goalie in net, then you're going to start to play a little bit differently. You're going to start to play a little tighter in your own end. You're going to fumble the puck around. You're not going to... Again, it goes back to what Joey has said. When you're thinking on the ice, you're dead. And I think the Blues are doing way too much thinking rather than playing. But if you're going down your intrusive thought process, which I think there are Blues fans that are doing this, if you're Doug Armstrong, this is the true colors moment. Now, the problem with that is you could sit here and act like you want to make trades all you want. They got no trade clauses.
Exactly.
So it's not like you could just call somebody up and say, I want to trade this person. This is the core you've invested in, and now you got to let them run.
Coming up in 15 minutes, we're going to get into Bet It or Forget It. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line. If you guys have a scenario, we'll tell you if we are betting it or forgetting it. Coming up in 15 minutes. Jeremy Rutherford, Blues insider for The Athletic, will give us his perspective on what we were just talking about. What does give you optimism that this thing's going to get turned around, or does he have that optimism? We'll ask Jaron when he joins us next here on 101 ESPN. Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Happy to go out to the Callier and Thompson hotline for our weekly chat with Jeremy Rutherford. He's the Blues insider for The Athletic. He's chronicling all of this, whatever this is, for the St. Louis Blues as they lose once again last night 6-3. They were down 2-0 before T-Bone even turned the game on. JR, appreciate the time as always, man. What's going on with this team, man? What's happening?
That's the question I'm getting. It doesn't matter which establishment I walk into or you walk into the arena tonight. That's going to be the number one question. And, you know, you guys are doing a good job of breaking it down. I know that you kind of teased what are some reasons to be optimistic. You know, I jotted down a few. And when I say this...
Surprised you found a few?
I'm not... When I say that, I'm not trying to say that these are reasons that everybody should be excited because this team's going to turn it around based on these two or three things. I'm saying kind of the opposite, that if the team is going to turn it around, it has to be these two or three things. And I don't know if they're going to get turned around. So, you know, I'll just run through them here. The Blues have two good NHL lines, if not three, and they're not producing right now. We saw a glimpse of it last night with Holloway, Schenn, and Kyrou all adding up to that goal. And that's the kind of play we saw from them last year, but we're just not seeing that on a consistent basis, you know, from the Blues top six, and now it's even more difficult without Robert Thomas. So if the Blues are going to show a reason to be excited again, it's going to have to come from that top six playing more consistent. And I think that number two is obviously, you know, understatement of the year, the goaltending has to be better. I just crunched some numbers, guys. In the Blues, 6 losses, 34 goals against on 157 shots. That's a .783 save percentage. That's in the Blues 6 losses. And this is in all their 9 games. The 234 shots against are the 5th fewest shots against in the league, yet they're giving up 4.33 goals against. That's the second highest. The goaltending absolutely positively has to be better, and it starts with Joel Hofer. So if there's any reason for optimism there, it's that the goaltending has been better. Is this a downward trend? Could it be? I think if you're trying to be optimistic, you're saying it should come back because it has been better in the past. And number 3, if you're going to be optimistic, I think you have to have faith in Jim Montgomery, who seems to be able to push the right buttons. He did that last year. The only problem with that is, what did he say yesterday in his pregame press conference? He said that these guys are going to come out and check their asses off tonight. And then last night after the game, he said not even close. So I'm not saying they're not listening to him. I'm not saying they're tuning him out, nothing like that. But if this team's going to get it turned around, he's going to have to be a spark behind that. And he hasn't been able to do that as of this point.
So let me hone in on that one, JR, because the biggest question that I've been seeing from people tuning in on pregame shows or postgame shows is, Alex, does this team have a core problem? So I'll direct the question to you. Does this team have a core problem?
I think it's a very fair question, and it needs to be answered. I'm sure it's been discussed for the past couple of years internally. Whenever I hear that question, what I try to lay out is, okay, well, who's the core? And you look at Kyrou, Thomas, now Buchnevich re-signed for 6 more years, Schenn, Parayko, and Binnington. And I think it's very fair, based on the start to this season, to say, okay, was that run last year an aberration? Did it convince the Blues to stick with these guys and, in fact, you know, re-sign Buchnevich, you know, who signed last year, obviously? But did it put more faith in this core for the organization, and now are they continuing to stick with it? You know, that could be. But as you guys have spelled out, how do you change up this core? They attempted to trade Braden Schenn last year. He wanted to stay. He has no trade clause. He stayed. You have Kyrou and Thomas, 5 more years on their contracts, 4 more years each, full no trade clause. Then it drops to 15 teams. Then you have Colton Parayko, 4 more years, no trade clause, 2 more years. And then the last 2 years, it's 15 teams. You got Binnington 1 more year, but who's looking to trade Jordan Binnington at this point? And then Buchnevich, 6 more years on his contract, no trade for 4 years. So if you're trying to change up the core and these guys aren't playing well, you're not going to get much in return. And as you said, Alex, like, you're not bringing in a third-line winger that's going to change the complexion of this team. I feel like if you were going to change out the core, you probably would have had to do that, you know, last season at the deadline. If you can, whatever you can do, try to do it. 2 years ago, maybe. Like, if you lost faith in this core a couple of years ago, you know, I think that something had to be done at that point. I think now they're boxed into a point to what can you do to change out this core? So I see a lot of that too, Alex. A lot of people saying, hey, number one problem, this isn't the right core, has to change out. My question is, how do you do that?
We're talking to Jeremy Rutherford for another couple of minutes here on BK and Ferrario. You can read his work over at The Athletic. You can follow him on Twitter at JP Rutherford. JR, when you think about this, it's complex, right? It's never one thing that's leading to a team's struggles. But if you had to put it on one thing that's the biggest issue for the Blues right now, what would you pinpoint as that?
Yeah, I think it's the goaltending. And I realize each goaltender has had a decent game or two. Jordan Binken's been the better of the two, obviously. Hofer had the great game in Calgary, but it starts with making a stop. Like, you know, if you don't allow the 2 goals on the 2 shots last night, perhaps that changes the course of last night's game. And I think what Alex said is true is, you know, there's a trickle-down effect where now the players go into the game, you know, not confident and maybe not fully into what they can do individually, which adds up to the team's forecheck and the team's play in the defensive zone. And, you know, I think that they can't go out there and play the type of game that we saw the second half of last year because they're not expecting to get the save. And so I think if you got to pick anything, it's got to be the goaltending at this point.
Is there any concern from you, JR, of the defensemen? Not just Mayu, because I know everybody's going to respond that way, and I thought he had a good game last night, but more so maybe regressing from Parayko and Fowler and Justin Falk.
Yeah, I think that they have not been as good as they've been in the past. I'm talking about Parayko and Fowler last year. Broberg's been terrific. You know, Falk has had a hiccup or two, but, you know, if you're you know, you can change out Justin Falk. It's not going to make the dynamic of this team change drastically. But overall, collectively, you know, then when you add in that third defensive pair, you know, they had some raw moments early in the season. Obviously, Mayu's learning on the fly. That third pair isn't nearly as effective as I thought it was going to be. I thought, you know, they'd get the job done. They'd be able to play their 12 minutes. They'd be physical. You know, I just thought that we were going to see some support, you know, from that pair. And again, you can't put the blame on them. But I think if you look at this group defensively as a whole, all 6 guys minus, you know, some great play from Broberg, I think it's been underwhelming this season. And I think that's in part why we've seen some of the goals go in. But I think even a bigger issue than that is some of the goals that shouldn't be going in that the goaltenders are allowing.
Well, JR, the Blues are back on home ice tonight, which, of course, is a place where they've struggled so far this season. So we'll see if they're able to get things back on track in this one against the Detroit Red Wings. We wish you all the best covering this game tonight. We'll talk with you again next week, my friend.
All right, thanks, guys.
You got it. That's Jeremy Rutherford joining us as he does each and every Tuesday here on BK and Ferrario.
Does that make you feel any better, BK?
What?
Just, you know, airing out our frustration and getting JR's perspective?
You know, the Blues, last time that they played Detroit, went up 4-0 and lost the game 6-4. And on home ice this year, they've lost 7-4 against Utah, 2-1 against LA, 8-3 against Chicago, and 5-0.
Why are you
Minnesota.
Avoiding the Dallas Stars game?
Well, they won that one. They looked great in that one. We did this a couple of years ago. Remember that game where they played so well against, what was it, Edmonton, I think?
Yeah, it was a 3-0 shutout. And I was ready to say they were going to win the Stanley Cup, and lo and behold, they traded pieces off.
Was that the 22-23 season?
No, I think it was the
22-23. They won 2-0 against Edmonton on the road. They started the season 3-0 and then lost their next 8 games. We got the press conference from Doug Armstrong. He talked about how they had to be better. They ended up trading everything off and, you know, finished below 500 that season. So we can pinpoint one game that they looked good, but the overwhelming majority of the games, especially at home, has not gone particularly well. Hopefully they're able to change that tonight, Alex.
Well, as the text line in our YouTube chat is saying, they just need to go trade for a third-line player because that'll bring a difference to the team.
Joseph's been really good. I'm assuming that's the person they want to replace.
The thing that's tough, man, is like there's no lineup change that you can make to get this thing back on track.
Because your best players are the ones that need to guide you through this.
Exactly.
And like I was looking at it, we talked about this before. Robert Thomas and Pavel Buchnevich, traditionally, not great in October. You know where they're awesome? November and December. The problem is
close. We got like 3 days left.
3 more days, like 2 more games in October. And then
they'll figure it out.
And then we're cooking with gas, right?
Hopefully.
It's what they say.
Blues back in action tonight. You'll be able to hear it right here on 101 ESPN. Alex has pregame coverage starting at 6. It's a 7:15 puck drop between the Blues and the Detroit Red Wings.
I'm not going to say one bad thing because I don't have a 9 o'clock puck drop until January.
Coming up next, 314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line for Better or Forget It here on BK and Ferrario.
Ooh, hoo, hoo, hoo.
314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line for Bet It or Forget It. You guys give us a scenario. We will tell you if we are betting it or forgetting it here on 101 ESPN. Alex, bet it or forget it. The Chiefs and the Colts will meet this year in the AFC Championship game.
Forget it. I don't trust Daniel Jones in the playoffs. I think it will be Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes.
Really?
Yep.
Back to where it was.
Yep.
Same as it ever always was.
You could try and get away from Brady Mahomes or Brady Manning all you wanted, but it always ended up Brady Manning. That's what we got here.
Oh man,
Coward.
I think I will forget it as well because I think I agree. I just don't trust Daniel Jones. I love what the Colts are doing.
I do too.
It feels very fraudulent.
If Jonathan Taylor plays this way, then I could see it happening. But
I'm just with you. Like when we get later in the year, it's going to feel a lot like what Sam Darnold was last year. I think it's like, wow, Darnold's playing well. Look at the Vikings. Can they get to the championship game? Then like the final 2 games of the year, then going into the playoffs, it was like, whoa. Oh, okay, there's the real Sam Darnold. I think you see the same thing with Daniel Jones.
Can I ask you a follow-up question? Are the Bills winning their division?
No, I think it might be New England.
In that case, then yeah. I mean, it might be the Chiefs versus the Bills in the first round.
I think the Bills still win that division.
Okay.
I think Josh Allen's got the talents to carry that team for the rest of the year.
Because that would probably be Chiefs versus Bills in the divisional round.
Yeah.
And then, I
think the Chiefs lose to the Patriots in the first round. You want bold?
I thought I was going to be alone on this one. I'm saying forget it as well because I still believe in the Bills, but it is interesting the way that this thing's going to work. Because I think the Colts are going to get the 1 seed. Like, they're the favorite right now to do that. And in that scenario, it's possible the Chiefs get the 2, Bills get the 3, or vice versa. And those 2 teams would have to meet against one another in the divisional round. Meanwhile, the Colts would play against like the Steelers, the Ravens, whoever ends up winning that division, or one of the wild card teams if they were to beat the Steelers or the Ravens. And then the winner of that game would play against the Chiefs or the Bills in the AFC Championship game. We've seen this before. I think the 13 seconds game, if I remember correctly, that was the divisional round. And then the Chiefs went on the next year or the next week to play in the AFC Championship game. But it always felt as though the Bills versus the Chiefs was the AFC Championship. It just wasn't actually played in that specific week. So I'll say forget it because I am still with you guys. I think it'll be Chiefs-Bills. The Colts getting the 1 seed could throw a real wrench into that, though. Alex, what do you got for us today?
Guys, the graveyard right now is arguing over a couple of potential moves that the Blues could have pulled off this past offseason.
Okay.
Bet it or forget it, the Blues should have been more aggressive with their offseason moves.
What do they, out of curiosity,
So they're arguing that the Blues should have traded for Morgan Frost, who was traded from Philadelphia to Calgary last year.
Okay.
Third-line center. If you look at him right now, he's not playing well for Calgary.
Calgary's awful.
They're saying that you should have traded for Marco Rossi from Minnesota. 1, you're not getting that. 2, he's a -7 right now on the season. He's got 8 points. Defensive liability.
It's also small, yeah.
And then 3 is the offseason where you could have signed a different free agent. And I don't know if you guys have checked what what Bennett's doing right now. Not much.
What's his name in Anaheim doing? The center that we talked about.
Granlund. I actually think he's been pretty decent, but I believe they've been using him on the wing rather than center.
Am I missing something? I think Pius Suter has been fine.
Well, Joey and I talked about this. Granlund's been awesome. 8 points in 8 games, but is a +2. But I believe, you'll have to check me on this, I think they've been using him on the wing rather than the center position. Joey and I mentioned this last night on pregame. They got arguably the second best center on the free agent market this past year. Like, anybody out there that looked at it said Pius Suter is the next guy behind Sam Bennett. And I was against Pius Suter. I didn't think it was going to be worth it spending the money that it was going to require. He signed for cheap, and he's been exactly what I expected him to be. So, no, I'm going to forget this one. I don't think the Blues should have been more aggressive. I think this was the right level of aggressiveness with what they needed to do.
Granlund's been playing center, but I'm fine with what they did. I had no issues with I liked the way that they went about their offseason. If you want to question a move, it continues to be the Bolduc for Mayu move.
Yeah, but it's not for the now, it's for the future.
I believe that. I believe that move was about what they're going to be doing in future seasons, not what they're doing right now. Now, I think they were hopeful that Mayu can also help them now. They did need to add a defenseman. They needed that. But if they wanted to, they could have found, some scrap heap defenseman the way that they did last year with Ryan Suter, for example, to just plug and play in that third pair defensively. They could have done that instead. They chose to make a move that had potential impact right now, but definite impact, in their opinion, in the future. That's the move that you can second guess, but I think that was because they were aggressive, maybe overly so, not because they lacked aggression in the offseason.
Yeah, I would forget this because I liked the Suter signing. Bukestad was a good, 1-year deal, I think is what it was. It's
No,
really
2-year deal.
Oh, was it a
He
2-year
and
deal?
Suter, both 2-year deals.
I think the way that BK said it there is they probably may have been almost overly aggressive, and that might be the thing that ends up biting them for this year. For the future, who knows? But for this year, might be the problem.
But again, I always remind people they wanted Noah Dobson originally.
Yep.
That was the aggressive move they were trying to go with. But they would have traded the guy that's got a 7-game point streak right now and is arguably your best player consistently all season.
Well, that leads to my bet it or forget it. Bet it or forget it. Jordan Kyrou will set a new career high in points, which his previous career high is 75 points.
Where is he at points-wise right now? We don't
got
talk
8
about him a whole lot, so
or
I don't have to
7.
look at his hockey reference page all the time.
7 and 9.
7 in 9 games.
He's been awesome. I know the plus-minus is a -6. I don't care. Watch the games, guys. He's been great.
Oh, there's the tone. Hit the dog.
And most of that came in one game. It was a bad game for everybody against Detroit.
You put 2 together with the Utah and the Detroit game, and you're already like a -12.
So, setting a new career high. Yeah, I'll say bet it.
I don't. Yeah, this isn't a question for me. I think he'll get to 80 points this year if he keeps playing this way. Now, injury/regression is very possible, but on this pace, you're an 80-point player.
And I would bet this as well. I almost did a point per game at 82 points, but I thought I was being a little aggressive.
I think he could get there.
For some reason, I feel like Kyrou always starts off slow. As like he's always like snake bitten, and then there's like just a stretch like 3-4 weeks into the season. It's like, whoa, okay, he just scored 5 goals in 3 games. He's been playing really well, and I would say very consistent as well. I would bet this. I think he will set a new career high.
Yeah, last year he had 9 points in 11 games in October, but then was basically a point per game player for the next 3 months.
From the 314, let's get to these from the text line. Guys, better to forget it. The Bears are going to trade for a top-tier defensive player, and then we'll go on a run to win the NFC North. Say forget it.
Forget it.
I would forget as well. I don't know who the
That's what I
top-tier
was
guy
gonna
is going to
say.
be that gets moved.
Yeah, I think if you're the Bears, you want a secondary piece, right? And I don't know if there's a top-tier player out there.
The part that I would just forget completely is them winning the
going on a
NFC
run.
North.
Yeah, you're not going to beat
trust
the
that at all.
Lions.
314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line for Bet It or Forget It. Guys, bet it or forget it. The Blues right the ship with a win tonight and win the next 3 games in a row.
Well, let me give you this one. Jake Neighbours has just been placed on injured reserve.
Oh, really?
It's reevaluated in 5 weeks.
5 weeks?
Mm-hmm.
So much for day-to-day.
Right
Finish
leg
that game,
injury.
Alex.
Adrenaline. The same way that Dylan Holloway finished the game when he had finished the shift with that vagus nerve that got jacked.
Dude, that's...
that's not good.
It's a huge loss for them.
Yeah. So, forget it. I don't think they'll right the ship. I think they'll win against Detroit. I think they're going to have inconsistencies for a little bit, and I think by November they can start to get on a trend of the style that they want to play.
All right, let's go ahead, take a break, reset. Jake Neighbours out for the next 5 weeks. What does this mean for the Blues? Does it change anything about how you currently view their situation? We'll talk about that next here on 101 ESPN.
Alex Ferrario with you to talk about my friends out at Ted Drew's famous frozen custard. It's the spot to be in the fall season, and I know what you're thinking. It's cold out, Alex. I don't want ice cream right now. First of all, it's not ice cream. It's frozen custard. They'll correct you on that over at Ted Drew's. But second of all, man, it's good at all times because of the nice weather we have. Whether it's cold or hot, it's the tradition and the flavor that you get out of Ted Drew's. It's off of Chippewa. It's open daily, and it has been there since 1929. And that tradition that I talked about, that consistency that I talked talk about, you see tons of people out there all year round because they've remained steadfast in their commitment to quality, consistency, and tradition. It's been in St. Louis since 1929. I'm out there all the time with family, with my daughters. It's the perfect spot to be. So get on out there, enjoy whatever flavor you want to, maybe mix and match or get a specialty flavor. Blues game tonight, the Blue Note vanilla custard with a mixed blend of fresh blueberries, smooth lemon cream, and graham crackers served as a concrete or a sundae. Check out the gift shop, the History Museum. That's on across the parking lot. You can find Ted Drew's apparel. You can find Ted Drew's souvenirs. You can get Ted Drew's gift cards. All of those good for the holiday season. That's coming up. 96 years, 4 generations of family serving St. Louisans that famous frozen custard. Ted Drew's unmatched quality, unforgettable taste.
Tanner Hendrickson here with a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Breaking news here in St. Louis. The St. Louis Blues have placed forward Jake Neighbours on IR. He will be reevaluated in 5 weeks. We'll break down what that means for the St. Louis Blues coming up here on BK and Ferrario. And the Blues will be back in action tonight as they host the Detroit Red Wings. We'll have pregame coverage starting with Alex Ferrario at 6 o'clock and puck drop at 7:15 with Chris Kerber and Joey Vitale. The Sports Center update is shown by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See him at Londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Alongside Alex and T-Bone on BK. So if you missed it, as T-Bone just mentioned, Jake Neighbours is sidelined with a right leg injury for at least the next 5 weeks. It is worth noting that is when he's going to be reevaluated. That does not mean he's back in 5 weeks. That means the reevaluation period starts 5 weeks from now. And given the fact that he's going to miss more than a month of time on the ice, Alex, it's going to take a little bit for him to get ramped back up, I would assume, as well. That means, we're talking about mid-December, Christmas, as being a realistic timeline for him to be back on the ice and playing potentially for the Blues if you go by this time frame of what they've announced today?
Yeah, I would say so. Probably around that. I was trying to look back and see what Robert Thomas's injury was last year because injuries can heal faster depending on what the severity of this one is, because I think Robert Thomas's was 4 to 6 weeks and he was already back skating, 2 weeks later? So it can go faster, but yeah, if they're telling you it's reevaluated in 5 weeks, they're not expecting him for at minimum 4 weeks, and then they'll start kind of looking at how his recovery is.
My biggest takeaway from this is twofold. One, that sucks, man. He's been playing so well for the Blues. He had been arguably your best offensive player this year, if not at least the second best behind Jordan Kyrou. He's somebody that you can at least trust to go to the front of the net, which has been a huge issue for this team so far in 2025. Secondarily, it puts that much more pressure on your best players to step up, man. Yep. Hey, Pavel Buchnevich, it is time for you to be a top-line player. They paid you to be a top-line player, and now it is time for you to step up and be that again. Because Neighbours had to replace him on that top line for a little bit this year because he wasn't performing up to expectations. So he needs to get it going. If Thomas is back tonight or whenever that may be, he's got to get going offensively. Kyrou's got to keep it up. Holloway's got to get back to where he was. Shin has to become that offensive contributor again, especially at the net now that you are missing a guy like Jake Neighbours. Just your top six has to step it up with the loss of Jake Neighbours. It also, and listen, I'm going to bring it up because I know if I don't, our text line will. Man, it would be really nice if they had Zach Bolduc right now to be able to fill in a top six capacity. Now, I said it at the time, and I believe it's still to be the case. I think it was a smart trade. It was a bold trade. It was a risky trade, But this is when you start having any kind of injury issues with your wingers, this is where that extra depth helps you a little bit because you are able to maintain that top 6 success even when you have a guy go down. But that's secondary to all of the other things that I said at the beginning.
Yeah, like the Bolduc stuff, I'm not even going to think because you can't plan to not trade a guy because of injuries, and that was a move that they made. I mean, look, this is a massive blow, and no, you graveyard chat, I'm not going to make the excuses now when the Blues start to continue to lose because no Jake Neighbours. But I will say this, Jake Neighbours is a heart and soul guy, and I was listening to a clip that Chris Pronger did earlier because the Edmonton Oilers are scuffling early on this season, and Pronger said that, you know, when you lose a guy like Zach Hyman in that locker room, it makes all of the other guys that don't have the talent of McDavid and Draisaitl think, hey, if I play that way, I can compete in the NHL. You don't have the Jake Neighbours now. Jake Neighbours provided guys like Matthew Joseph. Not saying Matthew Joseph is going to play dip, but like anybody who doesn't have the gifts of a Jordan Kyrou or a Robert Thomas, I mean, they look at Jake Neighbours and they say, well, that's how we need to play. And Jake Neighbours, I promise you, if Jake Neighbours was playing in that game against Detroit, he would have been doing what Jim Montgomery said in terms of checking his asses off. He wasn't, and now you got to have somebody step up. But I also like, it is a massive blow, and it is going to be very difficult for the Blues. But you're right, BK. The emphasis now is on Booch, Snuggerud, Holloway. Like, Holloway is the guy that provided that opportunity to trade Bolduc because he outperformed what they expected. They need him to be a top 6 winger now. And in terms of the size, now that at least they're healthy on the 4th line, now you get the opportunity to put Nick Bjugstad into your top 9. And Bjugstad's been a net front presence for the Blues. Suter's been a net front presence for the Blues. They need their top guys to do it. You know, Bill Armstrong had a really, what I thought was amazing quote. He was on with Jeff Merrick's show a couple of days ago, and they were talking about how good Utah has been, and he said, we have emphasized one play to all of our players. He said, if you want bread, you go to the bakery. You want money, you go to the bank. If you want goals, you go to the net. Now, everybody in it was an incredible quote, but he's right. Now, everybody in that locker room is going to have to realize that, look, we have to pick up the pace, and there's no more of this transition hockey. We're going to have to go to the front of the net. You don't have Jake Neighbours anymore, but that's a heart and soul player that they're going to have a massive load to try and carry now in terms of the energy he provided night in and night out.
Yeah, and I mean, you guys have laid it out perfectly. It comes down to your top guys becoming your top guys, and it really puts pressure on, I would say, Snuggerud. Not the most, I mean, it is on Holloway, Booch, Kyrou, but he's the guy that now has to probably slide into that top 6.
You have nobody else that can do it. Like, if you have been doing this thing where they've kind of been sliding guys up and down depending on the night, especially with Snuggerud, where Neighbours would replace him sometimes in the 3rd period. You're not doing that with, like, Joseph.
I think you're doing it with Pius Suter. You're doing it with Suter. Suter
but then you're skipping a shift for your 3rd-line center?
No, you'd put Bjugstad on your 3rd-line center because that's what, I mean, Suter played top 6 minutes for Vancouver last year and was successful. He could be it, but the preference isn't Suter. The preference is Snuggerud and Holloway. I actually think the more pressure's on Dylan Holloway. He's already been going through
all of
it.
them. Yeah, your top 6 has to perform.
Yeah, I mean,
like flat out, that's it. It's your top 6. Those guys have to go out there and perform offensively now.
And you can't sit here and really pinpoint it because honestly, it's your best guys. It's Thomas, it's Buchnevich. Those are the 2 that you're looking at now, and you're looking at Schenn. You're looking at the guys that are the core pieces and saying, what do we do now? And as leaders, they say, we'll take over. And typically they've done it in the past, but man, when you lose a Jake Neighbours, that's a massive style to pick up early on in the season in terms of physicality, net front presence, and just getting banged up when you're on the ice.
Alex, we're getting a lot of people on the text line. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line, asking basically who do they call up. A lot of people are saying bring up Carbonneau.
You can't call
him up because he's been sent down to juniors. That was the decision that they had to make at the beginning of the season. Either keep him with you and then make the decision 9 games in,
correct,
or send him back down and he's not eligible to come back up until his season's over. So that's not an option. But Alex, are you anticipating somebody coming up from the AHL?
Not now. My anticipation would be, and I mean, I just checked the AHL transactions website and there hasn't been a move. My anticipation would be Thomas plays tonight. And then you've got your healthy core of forwards. You've got 12 forwards. Kessel or Mayu will be the healthy scratch. And it'll be that way tonight. It'll be that way Thursday. And if they've got guys who are 50-50 in terms of dealing with something and, they could push through, but it's probably not best, then they'll bring somebody up. They'll probably call somebody for that road trip because I believe after Thursday, they go on a pretty long road trip, if I'm not mistaken, in the beginning of November. But you're not doing anything right now. And honestly, people aren't going to like this. I don't think they're calling up Dvorsky or Stenberg. I've already seen a ton of people say, well, get Dvorsky up here, put Stenberg up here. They're not doing that. They're not putting them in a spot like that to where, hey, we need you to be the savior right now. No, if they're calling somebody up, it's going to be Alexandrov or Matt Luff. They're going to call up a guy that can just fill in as a third or a fourth line guy. And honestly, probably sitting in the press box because it's going to be the person they call up versus Texier. And I don't even know if Texier is really going to be, because they'd have 13 forwards, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so Texier is going to be your healthy scratch. So no, they're not calling anybody up unless somebody gets injured between now and that road trip.
There's no need to.
Yeah.
They're not starting over Bukestad. Your top 9 right now is Booch, Thomas Snuggie, Holloway, Shin, Kyrou, Joseph, Suter, Bukestad. That's your top 9. And then your fourth line is Torpo, Sonny, and Walker, now that it's healthy. Your extra is Texier.
Yep.
Eventually, you'll probably sign Milan Lucic to some kind of a PTO, give him a couple of opportunities. Maybe he platoons in there with Sonny, something like that. Give him some opportunities to get some rest because he gets hurt a lot. And you make it work that way. If you bring up, one of these other prospects that we're talking about here, they're not playing.
No.
So why are you calling them up? There's no reason to do so. It's like asking for the Cardinals to call up J.J. Weatherholt if he's going to be sitting on the bench every day. Well, that doesn't make any sense. If he's going to be here, he's got to play. If one of these top prospects for the Blues is going to come up to the NHL level, they have to unseat somebody from your lineup. Joseph's been playing well. He's the least of their concerns right now. You're not taking him out of your lineup. You're not taking Suter out of the lineup. I know that Booch isn't playing well, but let's be real. They're not benching him. No. So the one spot that you could potentially talk about is that Bukestad third-line winger role. I just don't think they're benching him either at this point.
That's your net front presence now. That's your new Jake
to do.
That's your new Jake Neighbours. I mean, Bukestad scored 2 goals standing in front of the net, and now you don't have to use him as a centerman or on the fourth line. Now you can get third line minutes. So, and your fourth line's going to be Toropchenko, Sundqvist, and Walker. Texier is going to be the healthy scratch, and I won't say guarantee, but I'm very, very positive that Milan Lucic will probably get a PTO at some point in the next couple of days. They're not going to call anybody up from the minor leagues and say, cool, you're a top 6 forward now. Oh, man, they got their top 6 forwards. This is the bed you've made. Now you got to lay in it. These are the guys that need to step up for the Blues.
For them to call up a Stenberg, you would need another top 9 injury that would be as long as Neighbours. Another 5-week reevaluation period. Until you get to that spot, I'm with you guys. You don't need to call up anybody because you don't want to sit up your best prospects up in the press box and just sitting up there.
And even Stenberg, guys, like Doug Armstrong said in the preseason, before those guys were sent down, it's like they're going to have to dominate the league before we consider them early on in the season because we've got these guys we want to give them the runway. Stenberg's got 2 points in 6 games. Dvorsky's heating up, but there's still stuff to work on. It's not going to be a rush these guys because we need to win now mentality. It's going to be, hey, you guys are under contract. You are the guys that we have invested in. Go out there and perform.
We said at the beginning of the show, we're not overly concerned about where they're at. My concern level was rising at that point in time because it seems like it's what the Packers are, right? Sundays, I watch them, and I'm like, this team isn't all that good. And then I get to Mondays, and then certainly by Tuesday, I'm like, best team in the NFC. But then I watch them again, and I once again fall into the pattern of, I don't know that they're actually very good. That's the Blues this year. I look at the roster, I look at the numbers, I'm like, man, they're a pretty good team, and they're going to figure this thing out, and I trust them to get the ship righted. And then I watch them, and I think to myself, they're bad. This is not a good hockey team, and the cycle continues. Now you're without Jake Neighbours for the next month plus. That certainly doesn't help their case. Alex, compared to where your concern level was an hour and a half ago, where are you at now?
About a 5. Moved up a tick or 2. I think I was 3 yesterday. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This is a big loss. This is about as big of a loss as a Robert Thomas is. Now, different impact on the game, but, man, Jake Neighbours, Jim Montgomery has said, you can play him on the top line, the third line. Jake Neighbours is what Ivan Barbashev was for the Blues when they were winning a lot of games. Play him anywhere you want. He was Mr. Fix-It. You put him out there, he'll play the style that you need him to. You don't have that anymore. And now, I mean, like, if you were to think about Who's the first player that comes to mind that every single night is going to be the exact same player?
I mean, Jordan Kyrou and Jake Neighbours would be on that list for me right now.
That'd
But
probably
it's,
be it.
Kyrou, in the, I think, past tense, they would say, like, now, sure. But, like, on a nightly basis, I know what I'm getting from those
for
players.
his entire career, I can say that about Jake Neighbours.
Yes.
I know what he's going to be every night. He brings the same energy. Yeah, that's fair.
And now, I think I could say it's Nathan Walker. So one I have confidence in that's going to bring it every single night.
He's
and
a fourth.
Sundquist.
This isn't a shot against Walker. He's a fourth liner. How much impact does that really bring?
So yeah, I mean, it's
That's
moved
not
up.
enough to get you down.
I still,
15 seconds in.
I do.
Oh, come on,
Come
man.
on, man.
I'm sorry,
That was
I'm sorry.
unnecessary. Damn.
That's supposed to be a positive for Walker. You somehow turned it to a negative.
You probably want to trade him, don't you?
No, I was happy that he got an extension.
The reason it's only at a 5 because sometimes these things do bring teams together. Like, this is the adversity that they got to figure out. But Neighbours hasn't been the problem. Problem's in your goaltending. Offensively, you've been okay. Your goaltending's the problem. That's the concern right now.
I'm old enough to remember the day before the trade deadline last year when Colton Parayko got hurt, and I said, sell everything.
Actually,
not making the playoffs.
Will you take that stance now? Please, like,
Yeah,
go
we
on
really
that
turned it
microphone
around
and
then.
believe
Trade
it.
Braden Shin. This team's not making the playoffs. It's over. Everything is over. There's no reason to maintain any of this beyond the deadline. Well, they went on this crazy run. We all know how that went there. So maybe it has the same ability to bring this team together, Alex. I think it's a good point. It just becomes that much harder. It's harder to get this thing back on track without one of your best players on the ice. So if my level of concern was a 5 or a 6 before, it's 6 or 7 to now.
Say it. 8 or 9.
No, I'm not all the way there because it's
Damn it.
early. It's still only 9 games into the season. But they need the goaltending to get it picked
T-Bone's
up.
got the face of a 10 over there.
And they need their top 6 to perform. And until those two things change, and if they don't change, you're in a world of trouble here. And it could get ugly quick, especially without Jake Neighbours on the ice.
Yeah, I think I skyrocketed up to an 8.
Okay.
Mostly because, like, now you're all the offense that we've talked about in terms of the expected numbers have been good. Well, that's now probably going to come down because you've just lost a critical piece of your top 6, the guy that you said is most consistent. And the one thing you could rely on in the past, you can't rely on right now, which is your goaltending. So your goaltending, I can't say, well, that maybe they'll pick it up for you now. There's no evidence of that so far this year. And if I'm going to say, like, hey, this will rally the troops together, I mean, they haven't stopped the snowball yet this year. So feels like a snowball could just be getting bigger and bigger and bigger as we go downhill.
Snowball versus Dallas.
Yeah, that's once.
Sometimes.
That was like us hitting a rock and going up in the air and then landing right back down and building on the snowball.
Blues back in action tonight, 6 o'clock pregame with Alex Ferrario. Puck drop for Blues versus the Red Wings tonight at 7:15. You'll hear it all right here on 101 ESPN. Coming up next, let's dive into the junk drawer here on 101 ESPN.
BK NFL action is in full swing last night for Monday Night Football. This is why they need to listen to us, buddy. Not only is it Boo-tober, as you like to point out. Boost-tober. I just said the boo because it's October. I ruined it already, but I didn't ruin your chance to win some money because last night my entry, the 3-1, it pulled off. So 11-1 odds it paid out.
I also had a winner last night as well. We had the Kareem Hunt touchdown in that game. We also got the higher on the longest reception for a couple of the Commanders receivers. Nice night for us in the NFL.
So there's no NFL, but there is hockey, and so I'm going over to this Blues game. Here's my entry for you, BK. Dylan Holloway, higher on goals. lower on John Gibson saves, higher on Jordan Kyrou shots. Those three pay 10-1 odds.
It's super easy to play over on Underdog. Choose whether your favorite players are going higher or lower on their stats. Get your entries right. You could win up to 5,000 times your cash. So if you want to follow Alex Ferrario's picks or you want to put in your own, download the app today. Sign up using the promo code BKO. You could score $100 in bonus funds or bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code BKO. Underdog. Make plays. Win money. Must be 18 or older. Present in Missouri. Terms to apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms_DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. Alex, do you ever take your dogs on walks?
Used to. The one we have now, the puppy, he's kind of a pain. So we do leash training in our backyard until he gets to the point where he's ready for it.
So
but used to.
Reason I ask is because we like to take our dog Belle. She's a 10-pound Shih Tzu Maltese mix. She's terrifying.
Don't feel bad, man. I got a 12-pound Shorky poo.
We take her on walks, and sometimes, we walk by soccer fields. We walk by a bunch of different stuff. A deaf woman survived being hit by a small custom-made plane that crashed into her as she was walking her dog in a soccer field recently. Would you like to learn more about this story?
Man, this just got dark quick.
Yes, please.
Sure, but my
Tiffany
God.
was seriously injured on a freak accident in Long Beach in Southern California on Tuesday and had to undergo surgery. She's in her 40s. She didn't hear the home-built two-seater aircraft as it approached the field, as the pilot had to make an emergency landing. It continues.
Okay.
She has a fractured spine, a broken pelvis, and required surgery for a large cut on her leg. Her dog did survive, was not injured in the crash, thank God.
Man, what's the point of this story? For lack of a better phrase, land the plane right now, man.
The reason why is because apparently now I also have to be anxious about planes.
There it is.
As I'm walking my dog.
There it is.
As I'm going on, the ascent, flying, I have to be anxious because I fear that I'm going to hit another plane in the air. And now I just need to be paying attention at all times for a potential freak landing.
Look, Tiffany didn't go, so, thank God she's okay, and hopefully she'll heal up from this massive. But if I'm going to go because a freak plane hits me while I'm walking with my dog, then, dude, it was my time. I can't have anxiety about that. That's like getting struck by lightning, man. If it happens, I did something to upset somebody because that's what's going on.
So I love how this is the story that got to be. There's a bunch of these stories around small planes crashing. Yeah, there's a bunch of.
It happens all the time.
I was going to say,
don't you
what are
remember,
you talking
people?
about?
Yeah.
No, I don't think it hits people. I think it happens.
People, but his fear of small planes crashing, that's kind of happened before. Like Harrison Ford crashed his personal plane and broke a bunch of bones.
Oh, sure. I mean, Kobe Bryant with the helicopter. I understand that this stuff happens occasionally. It doesn't often. But
that's
not
the problem. It's more he's concerned about it happening to him.
Correct. Yeah, that's my concern. Is I don't want to get hit by one of these planes.
I don't think how he didn't get to that point
Can
from
you
all these
imagine?
before.
You're walking the dog, and obviously this poor woman, she is deaf, and so she can't hear it.
How is nobody else around her that would say, or at least run over to her and grab her?
She's at a soccer field, so maybe it was
been on her own.
empty, whatever.
Yeah.
But can you imagine if you hear this and you're just walking your dog and you start hearing, man, that plane feels like it's really close, and then it gets closer. And
she was
closer
just
and
deaf, right? She
lower
wasn't
and lower.
blind?
Correct.
Okay.
That's got to be the most horrifying feeling as you're trying to sprint away, and this thing's going.
It sounds super dark, but especially if you survive it, you know?
Yeah.
Because if you go, I would imagine that's going to be a quick death, so you don't have that type of pain. But if you survive, it's the amount of pain that she was. I'm just glad nobody died in the story, because between her and the dog, I thought this was going to get real dark.
Somebody said, out of your Gator over on the YouTube chat said, out of your control, BK. It sure is, but for some of us,
BK will still be concerned about it.
Got some
BK's
OCD
gonna hear planes
tendencies,
in
as
the
I've
sky.
learned recently, which leads
A lot of
to,
people are saying, BK, the victim was deaf. I think you're going to be okay.
I understand that, but
But you're just more worried.
these things are pretty fast.
You think you could dodge a
planes,
plane?
They go a little faster than me running.
BK's going to hear them breaking the sound barrier for now. Going, ah!
I don't know if you guys have seen some of the GPS stuff, but football players who are really fast go 20 miles an hour.
Yeah.
How
Planes
fast do you
go
go?
much faster than that.
How fast do you go?
I run 8 miles an hour for an extended period of time, and that's good enough for me. That's all I ask for.
I like it. That's good.
You getting on the treadmill anytime recently?
Did the elliptical yesterday.
Yeah, how'd it
Let
go?
me tell you, man, I haven't done the elliptical in a while. That puppy works out parts of your body you didn't expect. Man, I was like
your ass?
Yeah, my ass and my thighs. I'm like, man, this is killing me right now.
He's Alex. That's T-Bone. I'm BK. Coming
Glutes
up
are
in
tight, though.
15 minutes, we'll get into our NFL weekend recap. But next, the Eli Drinkwitz noise is not going away anytime soon. Is he really going to take this job at Florida? We'll talk about it next year on 101 ESPN.
Alex Ferrario with you to talk about my friends out at Classic Air Care, who have been around since 1926, have been making people comfortable living in their homes. And the best part about all of this is the customer service and the knowledge that you receive from the technicians that come out and work on your home. And I'm speaking to the individuals now that have been questioning if they need to get a new HVAC system. And you know how it is. You ask yourself, it's man, it's going to be too expensive. I don't know if I want to do this. Let's see if I can just get more life out of it. Well, you can. The maintenance agreement helps with that. But you also can call Classic Air Care, and they can walk you through the whole process of purchasing a new HVAC system. Financing options are available, which is massive when you're buying something like this. But, you have the technicians come out, they'll walk through the home, they'll look at the unit that you have, and there might be some ways to use some of the stuff that you have on your older unit while you purchase the newer unit to save you some money there. But the financing options are massive, and you can go through this to where you don't even need to have them come out if you just want to find out what the price is from the comfort of your own home. Just go to their website, classicaircare.com, click on Instant HVAC System Quote, and you answer 4 questions. You get a price right there in your browser. So call them today if you need a new unit before we get to the winter, or if you just want to take care of the older one. It's Classic Air Care, and tell them Alex Ferrario sent you, classicaircare.com.
Alongside Alex and T-Bone on BK. So, Alex, the Vegas odds are out on who the next head coach will be for both LSU and Florida. Now, I want to say this on the front end. These odds don't really matter. You can't really place a significant wager on them.
Spoken like a panicked fan.
Yeah, they don't tell you a whole lot. It's not like a FanDuel line where because there is so much money, the markets are so liquid, there is real information that's behind those lines, right? These are more just like PR for these places. So BetOnline does a lot of this stuff. The next head coach at LSU, the favorite right now, John Sumrall, the guy that is currently at Tulane. Behind him, Joe Brady at 2-1. He's the current offensive coordinator with the Buffalo Bills. Others that are up there, Lane Kiffin at 4-1, James Franklin at 6-1, Eli Drinkwitz at 8-1. I did see just a little bit ago on ESPN, they're talking about the vacancy at LSU right now. Pete Thamel listed his top candidates for this job. He mentioned John Sumrall again from Tulane, Lane Kiffin, Eli Drinkwitz, and Jeff Brom from Louisville. One thing that's going to be interesting about this cycle, there are a lot of alums or guys that coached at these respective schools previously that have a lot of history with their schools that are going to be some of the top coaches available. Kenny Dillingham is that at Arizona State. Clark Lee is a Vandy alum. Who else? Brent Key with Georgia Tech. These guys are all alums of their respective schools, so keep that in mind. For Florida, something that's making its rounds right now, Alex, Eli Drinkwitz is now the favorite to be the next head coach at the University of Florida.
You hate to see it.
James Franklin second, and then Kiffin, Jed Fish, Jeff Brom.
Put a smile on my face.
How dare you?
Which one?
Eli's
Jeff Brom.
favorite. Eli's favorite to get the Florida job.
I don't know what to do with this.
Is this where you tell us that you're emotionally not tied to this and then
really
going
go
over?
Oh, no, I'm
Screaming rant.
hugely emotionally tied to this. Mizzou getting into this cycle would be the worst case scenario. Because if Eli Drinkwitz leaves, you now are in the mix with Florida and Penn State and potentially Texas, potentially Auburn, LSU. Like, you're in that cycle where the top coaches, they're going to go to those schools. In some cycles, it works out because, the top coaches are choosing between South Carolina, Mizzou, Vandy, et cetera. And you can at least make Arkansas, you can make your case that, we're equal or better to all of the other jobs. You can make your pitch to these coaches. Man, I can't make a pitch to a neutral observer who's not previously at Mizzou that you should come to Mizzou over LSU or Florida. I can't make that pitch. I can make the pitch as to why Eli Drinkwitz should stay at Mizzou over going to Florida. It's hard for me to make the case for somebody else that is not already at Mizzou and hasn't already built it up and has the existing relationships there. So this would be a disaster for Mizzou to enter into this market, Alex, in my opinion. And so much of it is because they lost on Saturday. If they had won Saturday, you're still very much alive for the college football playoff. And if you're alive for the college football playoff, you're playing potentially an extra month. And if you're playing for an extra month, it becomes that much harder for a program like Florida or like LSU to wait to hire your head coach. Because now they're behind the eight ball for the transfer portal, for the early signing period. Recruiting is a really big deal in early December. And they could fall behind because their coach is unavailable. It's what makes me so interested about Lane Kiffin now. He's probably the top candidate at LSU. Is LSU's going to wait? He's going to hold off and see, all right, is this going to work out with him? Because he's probably going to the playoff at Ole Miss. So Saturday's loss both made Eli Drinkwitz that much more likely to be a candidate at these jobs and also made it that much harder for me to make the pitch to Eli Drinkwitz that he can win at a high level at Mizzou. Because the schedule's not getting easier than it has been over the last 2 years. The money's going to be the same wherever he goes. And now they can pitch him, yeah, you've hit your glass ceiling at Mizzou. It's only going to get worse from here. So, yeah, maybe you don't get fired. You're also never going to have the ceiling there that you could have here at Florida or here at LSU. And I am, for the first time, a little anxious about this, Alex. I don't know which direction this is going to go. I think people locally believe that Drink will stay, and my hope is that he will. But I'm not as positive about that today as I was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and I mean, rightfully so, because when two programs like Florida and LSU come calling, it's a hard sell to keep you at Missouri. I I don't know. My gut tells me he doesn't take it, and this is more like stuff that I have no idea about. But when it comes to your family, I would imagine if you're comfortable somewhere, maybe that keeps you there. But if you're Drink, you do have to consider it after this season, because this was the season I think you should have been in a college football playoff. You had a really good defense. You finally got the quarterback you thought. Your running game has been excellent, and it was an easy schedule. And now, like BK mentioned, it's just SEC heavy moving forward, and it's not going to be this easy. Whereas if you go to Florida, if you go to LSU, these are programs that you know you're going to get the best of the best out there in the SEC. And he's already been awesome at recruiting and getting guys in the transfer portal. This sets Mizzou program back if you lose Drinkwitz. I mean, there's no way to say it other than you're going to take a step back, because you're not going to have the same type of recruitment unless you could go out there and, surprise everybody and get a James Franklin or something like that. But as BK mentioned, there's a lot of highly touted programs out there.
Man, I'm really surprised by the reaction on the text line. A lot of people are basically saying something to the effect of, see ya, Drink. The grass is not always greener on the other side. I know Drinkwitz has lost some of these big games, and it's frustrating to not get over the hump. This was what a lot of people said about Gary Pinkel, and then look what happened after Pinkel left.
Was not pretty.
No, Drinkwitz is a really good football coach, and if he leaves, the overwhelming likelihood is you get worse. He's recruiting at a level that is unprecedented at the University of Missouri. He has everybody from the State House all the way down to the assistant coaches on the same wavelength right now. Like, everybody is in lockstep with Eli Drinkwitz. He is the most powerful person, arguably, in the state. That doesn't just happen overnight. He has developed that with relationships over years. He has boosters completely behind this program. He has built up goodwill. He has built up this fan base. He has added investment into the program. Like, all of this stuff is with Eli Drinkwitz's backing. He is a salesperson as much as he is a football coach, and he's really good at both of those things. The next head coach at the University of Missouri is not guaranteed to be as good at both of those things. And if you're just a good football coach, listen, you can win a bunch of games, don't get me wrong, and that's really important. But you also need the sales to keep up with the Joneses in this conference. So I would be careful what you wish for here. Drink's a good coach. He's got Missouri consistently as a top 20 program in the country. That is not a thing that has historically been the case at a program like Mizzou. It can go bad just as quickly as it got good. So, yeah, I get it. It's frustrating. The loss on Saturday was annoying. Go look back and look at what I had as my reaction yesterday.
BK was one step away from crying.
Yeah, it sucked. It was brutal. But this thing doesn't just suddenly get better. Drinkwitz leaving would not be a good thing for Mizzou, man. It's hard. James Franklin, sure, he can come here. And then what? You end up in the same place or worse than what you are right now? James Franklin couldn't win the big games at Penn State.
Where he had everything he needed.
And now we think he's going to do that at Mizzou?
I'll still take him, though, over the other options.
You can go out there and you can hire the North Texas coach. You can hire the Houston coach, who I like. He wins everywhere that he's been. He's also 65 years old. And he's not much of a program seller. He's just a good football coach. So, yeah, Drink leaving would be a bad thing for Mizzou. This would not be a good day in the history of this program.
Seems like it'd be a good thing for Gator.
It would lead to. It would be for Gator if Florida's the one that hires him, because he would make Florida respectable.
Gator's
again.
chomping right now.
Yeah, BK would actually cry if Drink leaves.
And why on the YouTube chat said BK literally said these odds don't mean anything, and then simultaneously freaked out about the odds 10 seconds later.
He just freaked out about a plane crashing into him when he's walking his dog.
It's not just the odds. It seems to be a lot of the national insiders are saying the same things. And when you hear that consistent, steady drumbeat of Drink as a lead candidate at Florida, Drink as a lead candidate at Florida, and it's national insiders and also people that cover the University of Florida that are saying it, generally speaking, they don't just say that and get it out of thin air. These reporters are plugged in with agents, with boosters, with a lot of people that are decision makers. It's coming from somewhere. So I'm going to give a little bit of credence to it and say, hey, maybe we should keep our minds open to the possibility that there's something here. And if there is, I don't want to be completely caught off guards and act like we have our head in the sand saying Drink's not going anywhere, Drink's not going anywhere. Oh my God, Drink left, now what? So, yeah, I want to talk about the possibility because it's real, man. This cycle is different than it normally is in college football, and that means sitting Power 5 coaches might leave their current job for another. And Drink is one of the leading candidates in the country that other programs want to hire right now. If LSU decides we want to hire Eli Drinkwitz, I can't make the case that he should turn that down. Florida, I could. Florida is about ceiling versus floor. Are you more comfortable where you're at in the fact that you're going to get a statue outside and they're going to never fire you? Or do you want to bet on the possibility that there's more for you to win at Florida? I would argue there's only been 2 coaches really that have done anything meaningful at Florida. Urban Meyer and Steve Spurrier, and they're 2 of the greatest coaches of their respective generations. I like Drink a lot. I just said a lot of glowing things about him. I'm not sure he's on their level. So I wouldn't go to that job if I was him because I'm comfortable with where I'm at. And that's not enough of a jump like LSU is, where LSU, man, everybody wins a championship at LSU. Like, you go there, you're probably winning something of meaning. I get it. I don't blame you for going and taking that job. Florida to me is different, so I would suggest otherwise. But yeah, man, you got to at least be open to this idea. It could happen. This is a real thing. It's a real possibility.
Yeah, and I was going to say, you look back at the cycle that when he was hired, the biggest jobs that were open were Florida State and Ole Miss. That was about it. There were some other power jobs open, but there weren't a bunch of power coaches that were leaving for those jobs. I mean, Kiffin at that point was at FAU, and Mike Norvell was at, I believe, Memphis, if I'm not mistaken, when that hire came. This cycle is completely different, and as you mentioned, there's a chance Texas opens up based on the reports that Sark is potentially on the move. There's a chance Auburn opens up, and if that happens, those 2 open up. You're talking about 5 head coaching vacancies that are already ahead in the pecking order over Mizzou.
It'll probably be fine.
All of this just makes me really anxious. Because
good.
this is not this is not the off season where you want to be involved in this specific coaching cycle. It's not the year. All right, coming up in about 15 minutes, the Blues are a worthy World Series champion, and yet they're running into a juggernaut. What's going to happen in this series the rest of the way? We'll get into that coming up here in about 15 minutes. Blue Jays versus the Dodgers. But next, our NFL weekend recap here on BK and Ferrario. Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. It's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. Let's dive into our NFL weekend recap. And man, that was a stinker of a slate, dude. Only one game decided by fewer than 10 points in the entire thing. It was that Jets versus Bengals barn burner, as we all anticipated. Alex, did you learn anything this weekend about the NFL? Genuine question.
Absolutely not. I think if I learned anything significant, it's that the Patriots aren't a fraud.
Okay.
The Patriots seem like they're real because that's a damn good defense on Cleveland's side, and they put up 32 points after a slow start by Drake May. But no, I think the teams that I'm anticipating being there towards the end of the season and in the playoffs, they all showed me and just backed up what I thought.
It was more confirmation than it was learning anything new.
Yeah.
That's the way that I would frame it for me. T-Bone, did you feel like anything stood out to you that was like, hey, we learned this and that was different and new?
Yeah, I kind of felt this way already, but I had kind of been thrown off the scent after one game with their new quarterback. Hey, Bengals, yeah, we're not a playoff team. You know, we're just not. If we're going to give up 39 to the Jets and 23 in the fourth quarter, your defense isn't good enough to get you to the playoffs. I kind of thought I knew that. But then I saw Flacco throw to Jamar Chase like 20 times on like Thursday Night Football and thought, oh, okay, maybe the offense can be good enough with Joe Flacco here. And the offense was good. But, man, if you're giving up that many points to what is the worst team in football, I'm sorry, you're not going to be a playoff team.
I do want to mention one other thing. The Texans are the team that I'm having the toughest time figuring out this year. I didn't think they were going to win that game against San Francisco because San Fran had played so well over the last few weeks. And then not only did they win, but they looked pretty good in doing so.
Yeah,
they did so without their number one weapon.
I just think the Mac magic wore off.
Okay.
And maybe it's because of their defense. I mean, Houston's defense is elite, but I mean, I can't judge the offense putting up 26 points against San Francisco, who's just continued to take blow after blow after blow in terms of big injuries.
That's fair. I would just say that's the one that opened my eyes, and I was like, I don't know what to do with this. I don't think it's a huge deal, but the Texans are one of the teams that I'm struggling the most with right now on where to put them in the pecking order of the AFC. We're going to learn because they've got over the next 6 weeks, Denver, Jacksonville, Buffalo, Kansas City, and Indy. That's 5 of their next 6 games. They also have a game against Tennessee. So I've got that.
I guess
like 3-3. I think you feel pretty good about that.
Oh, yeah, totally. I should correct myself. I feel like I learned something else. The Falcons aren't any good.
I just don't know what to do with that game either because they didn't have their starting quarterback.
That's
and
fine.
They didn't have their number one receiver.
That's fine, but you don't allow that Dolphins team to put up 30-plus points. Even with your quarterback and number one receiver, maybe you're a little bit better offensively. I like their offense has the potential to be good. You don't give up 35, 36 points to Miami. I mean, that team was ready to roll over and die, and you just let them come back into it. And it was a home game for Atlanta, so that's not good.
Next 2 weeks at New England and then a neutral site game. I think that's overseas against Indianapolis. So they could be 3-6 after the first 9 weeks of the season. And if you're 3-6, it's basically over.
Yeah, I'm done acting as if that team could win their division.
I think that's fair. I don't know how much on that.
Did you guys believe in Dallas at all?
The offense, and I still believe in the offense.
I think they're what I thought they were.
Could Dallas get in over Atlanta?
Possibly.
Because I guess that's really the last spot you're talking about, right? Bears, Cowboys, Falcons?
Let's go through teams that we think as of today are probably in. Eagles?
Yep.
Agreed.
Packers?
Yep.
Agreed.
Lions?
Yep.
Yep.
Bucks?
Yep.
Yeah.
Rams?
Yeah.
Seahawks?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's 6. So you've got one spot remaining for the following teams. The 49ers, the Bears, the Panthers/Falcons, the Cowboys, and the Commanders. One of those teams could get in.
I don't think the Bears have that easy schedule, though. I just don't buy the Bears. I'm looking at
probably talking 49ers or Cowboys to me.
I'm not going to do the 49ers. I think they've hit their fatigue factor.
I think they're just going to get healthy, and that's what would get them over the top. Like, I agree with what you're saying.
But they're not getting back Bosa or Warner.
No, but, like, offensively, like, they should get Purdy back here soon. Who am I missing? They've got Pearsall. I think Pearsall will come back eventually. Like, they're going to get healthier, and I think offensively they'll look better.
Schedule's also a little more forgiving. You got the Giants, Cardinals, Panthers, Browns, Titans, Bears remaining on your schedule. That's 6 games. If they win 4 of them, pull off one upset the rest of the way, boom, you're up to 10 wins, and you're in the playoffs.
I think I'm going to lean into either the Cowboys or the Bears.
Okay.
And I don't believe the Bears, so I guess I'm really saying the Cowboys. I mean, Cowboys got some tough parts.
On the AFC side of things, I think it's a little bit more set. I think the Chiefs are in. I think the Chargers are in. I think the Broncos are in. I think the Colts are in. I think the Patriots are in. I think the Bills are in. And then whoever wins the AFC North is in.
Yeah. I agree with
agree? I think we've got our 7 teams, boom, ready to go set.
Did you lock in Chargers in that list?
I did.
I don't know that I'm willing to lock that.
You
in.
can
Either
go
the Chargers or
Jags.
Okay, that's where I would.
AFC, yeah.
Again, I didn't have like a bunch of teams competing for it, but yeah, I wouldn't lock in the Chargers just yet because they're the team for me. Like you mentioned the Texans. I watched the Chargers and go, what the bleep am I watching today? You can't block. Herbert looks good one game. The next game, he's like missing passes. They don't run the ball. Then they run the ball.
Yeah.
They're the team for me. I can't figure out.
Texans have no chance. I mean, you got the Broncos. Maybe if you beat the Jaguars, you put yourself in even playing field. Titans, that's a win. Then you got the Bears, or the Bills, the Colts, the Chiefs, Cardinals, Raiders, Chargers, Colts. You can have an awesome defense, but good luck. So I think it's either the Jags or the Chargers, and I'd lean more on the Chargers than the Jags.
You already have your Survivor pool pick in for next week?
We're going the Rams at home,
All right,
baby.
yeah.
That's going to take us through the next week. 100 people were kicked out this past
How
week.
many people are left in your pool?
147.
Out of 1,000.
Yep, 147 remain.
Alex Ferrario's one of them.
What
I
week
got
is this?
booted for the Bills against the Patriots.
T-Bone got booted the first week and forgot to put his pick in.
Second, I got my first week right.
I got the Rams at home
absurd.
I
against
probably would have gotten the second week right too, which is
the
frustrating.
Saints are sitting Spencer Rattler, so that's not a good sign for them. Rams at home coming off the bye. Puka's back. Rams are going to guide us to another win.
It's a brutal week for fantasy football, by the way.
I actually think it's a pretty good one for me.
Eagles and Bucks both on bye.
Doesn't hurt me.
Lot of fantasy football players going to be on the bye this week.
Actually helps me out because the only guy going out is Baker.
Last week was one that was rough for me. I think I had 6 guys on bye in one league. I think it might have been our
Injuries
league.
plus bye weeks. It ain't going great right now, boys. It's not going great right now. All right, he's Alex. That's T-Bone. I'm BK. Coming up next, we're going to get back into the World Series. The Blue Jays are a worthy World Series champion. Can they overcome this juggernaut that is the LA Dodgers after last night's defeat? We'll talk about that next year on 101 ESPN.
Tanner Hendrickson here with a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Blues earlier today placed their leading goal scorer forward Jake Neighbours on IR. He will be reevaluated in 5 weeks. And the St. Louis Blues will be back in action tonight as they host the Detroit Red Wings. We'll have pregame coverage tonight starting at 6 o'clock with Alex Ferrario, and then puck drop at 7 o'clock with Chris Kerber and Joey Vitale. This Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin heating and air conditioning dealer.
Alongside Alex and T-Bone on BK, an unbelievable World Series game last night. Shohei Ohtani, that guy's good. That guy's real good. 100 home runs, 30 doubles in the game. Not official numbers, but something along those lines.
Felt like it.
Felt like that for Toronto.
Yeah,
Dodgers find a way to win 6-5 in 18 innings last night, Alex. We played 2, except they happened to be one baseball game overall.
What's even wild about that is they have to play today. Like, if Major League Baseball is like, okay, you know what, let's push these guys back
To make
another
matters
day.
worse, it's supposed to be hot today in LA. It's supposed to be 90.
And they play tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, they play 3 consecutive days. That was the first of the 3 straight days in LA. Yeah, it's crazy. Alex, the Dodgers are now up 2-1 in this series. My biggest takeaway from the early portion of the series, dude, Toronto's a really good baseball team. We underestimated just how good they were. I didn't think they had any chance to win last night, if I'm just being candid. I didn't think they would have a real shot to win any of these first 3. And yet, they won game 1. They were right there yesterday, had every opportunity to push that one over the top, just couldn't find a way to do so. The Blue Jays are right there with the Dodgers. And it sucks that they lost that game as somebody that is rooting for the Blue Jays to find a way to get this thing done and to get this World Series victory. Because now I look at it, it's like, man, I don't know how you overcome that. You lose in 18 innings, your pitching is depleted. Now you find yourself in a 2-1 hole, and you've got Shohei Ohtani on the other side going up against Shane Bieber. Oof. Not great, Bob. How are you feeling about the Blue Jays now that they enter Game 4?
Yeah, I hate saying it because I was really hoping the Blue Jays would make this interesting after Game 1, but I think it's over. If you're a team that invested that much energy into that game and to lose off of a home run, which you felt like that game was going to end in that fashion, but to lose that way, it's got to be an exhausting feeling. I mean, you walked Shohei Ohtani 5 times in that baseball game. You did everything you were supposed to do to win that baseball game, and it goes 18. That's gassed. You've already used your bullpen up in a game like this. Your pitching hasn't been as good as you needed it to be. Unfortunately, I'm with you. The offense has been exciting because I didn't expect it. Vlad Guerrero Jr. looks like the superstar that he is. George Springer's come up with some big moments. Alejandro Kirk, massive home run last night. But I think that was the game you needed. That's like a triple overtime game in the Stanley Cup final when you're down 2-1 and it goes 3-1 and you lose. It's hard to come back from that, man.
Yeah, I don't know how you recover from that because offensively, you had opportunities in extra innings. Like the 13th inning, they had the bases loaded with a chance to get that lead, and then they can't get a hit off of Clayton Kershaw. I don't know how you can recover from that if you're Toronto because you've already been, as BK mentioned it, because I was skeptical that they'd get a game in the first 3 as well. You've been at a pitching disadvantage the entire series. And I know your bullpen has been good. So is the LA Dodgers. That was supposed to be their weakness. Their bullpen's been pretty good. And as you saw last night, it was really good in that game. So you're constant. The other thing for them, too, they've fallen behind in all 3 games. They've given up the first run in all 3 games of this series. So I just don't know how you can recover from this if you are the Toronto Blue Jays. Your bullpen is fried. You're already at a pitching disadvantage when the game starts, when Ohtani's gone, I think it's 6 innings in his 2 starts so far this postseason. And now, like, you play a perfect game like they did last night. I thought Schneider managed that game about as well as you could. Alex mentioned it, or we mentioned it earlier. They made a couple of really good defensive plays. They couldn't come up with the one big hit. So they basically played a 90%, an A- game, and it still wasn't enough to beat the LA Dodgers. Like, it's hard to recover from that.
What we haven't talked about yet is George Springer might not be available.
Exactly.
And if George Springer's out, well, that lineup isn't what it was.
Yeah, Bo Bichette's not 100%, although he looked good in that one. He's still not 100%.
It's just tough to make the case for him. I hope they're able to do it. I think it'd be great. And they've given us reasons for optimism. And really, all I asked for from this World Series was that the Blue Jays make it interesting, and they've done that. It's mission accomplished. Game 1, getting the win, that made it more interesting. And then last night, going into 18 innings, hell yeah, man. That was a hell of a lot of fun to watch, even though Alex only made it to the 13th inning. All right,
it was fun for the 13 of them, though.
Put together their list of the top 50 Major League Baseball free agents for this offseason. Our expectation is that the Cardinals probably won't be connected to very many of them, Alex, but they were connected to a few players on this list. Would you like to hear who?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Let's go to the $5 bin, ladies and gentlemen.
Jim Bowden puts together his best team fits for each of the players that he has ranked. He also gives his contract prediction at number 11. He has former Cardinals minor league pitcher Zach Gallen. And the best team fits, according to Jim Bowden, are, take a deep breath here, Orioles, Red Sox, Tigers, Astros, Padres, Braves, Giants, Mets, Cardinals, and Cubs. 10 of the 30 teams are represented as the quote-unquote best fits.
Everybody that needs a top-end pitcher.
Yep. He's got him predicted for a 5-year deal worth $135 million. The next guy that he has connected to the Cardinals are, what did you say about the first one?
Too rich.
The bargain bin?
Oh, yeah, the $5 bargain bin at Walmart.
Brad Keller, number 34 overall. He's got the Cubs, Dodgers, Mets, Braves, Phillies, Cardinals, Tigers, and Astros as a fit for him. 2 years, $15 million. He also has Luke Weaver as a potential fit for the Cardinals. Those are the main ones that he has listed.
Cool, so
as
all bullpen guys. Speaking from a Cardinal, well, not all bullpen guys. Gallen's not, but the other two are. Speaking from a Cardinals fan, don't sign a bullpen arm.
If you had to, and I'm not going to list everybody as the top 50, but if you had to go out there to the market, Alex, this offseason and sign somebody from this list, is there one based upon the contract prediction that Jim Bowden has associated with that player that you find to be most interesting?
Dylan Cease. That's the guy for me. T-Bone has talked about him in the past. I know it was an underwhelming season for Dylan Cease in terms of what he's done in the past, but I think he still has number one upside and swing and miss stuff. He's 29 years old. He'll be 30. That would be the go get a guy that anchors the top of your rotation and misses bats. So, and I don't remember what his contract was when I looked at it yesterday, but Dylan,
basically 31 a year for 6 years.
Yeah. Dylan Cease would be the one that I'd go after.
I like Cease. Another one that I think we haven't talked about that I would have a bunch of interest in, and he pitched with the Padres this past year, is Michael King. He's the one for me that I really like. It must have been based on the way he reacted. And if it's a 3-year, $75 million deal, which is what Bowden projected, it could get higher because he did deal with, a nerve issue. But like, what's that? Michael King's stuff is disgusting. It's the same as Dylan Cease, and that's why I have interest in Cease. Both guys have dynamic stuff. They miss bats. The thing for Michael King, though, is he actually has the ERA behind it instead of me just looking at the peripherals and going, yeah, he should be better, but for some reason he hasn't been.
Yeah, that was one that immediately jumped out to me. Given the contract, given where it's at, it just feels very Cardinals-y, but with real stuff. Cardinals' range of what they're willing to spend, but also stuff the likes of which they have not targeted in the past. So it meets money with where they're willing to go in this market. Another guy that I'd be interested in, I don't know what his plans are, but Tyler Mahle is 31 years old. They've got him projected on a 1-year deal at $17 million. He was really good this season for Texas. He probably, my guess would be, just going to stick with the Texas Rangers. But if he has to settle for some kind of a 1-year deal, he is exactly the kind of pitcher that I would bet on to potentially trade at the deadline. You're just basically paying for a prospect by signing somebody like this. So that's something that I would not be completely out on. I'm also interested, Alex, I know you said, hey, don't go out there and sign one of these bullpen arms. I would go the opposite direction. Just like what I said about the starters, if you want to sign one or two of these guys at the back end of your bullpen and you're not planning to spend a whole lot in free agency, just do 1-year deals. Don't do multi-year contracts, but Devin Williams, he's from here. He's 31 years old. That guy is an awesome pitcher when he's right. He wasn't right this year. He's a free agent. Hey, Devin Williams, you want to make a 1-year, $10 million contract here? I don't know where you're going to be pitching in August. It probably won't be here, but come be a closer for us. Hey, Ryan Helsley, you going to come figure it out in St. Louis? 1 year, $8 million. Let's figure this out together. And you could end up going and pitching for another contender by the time we get to August as well. But those are the kinds of bets that I'd be willing to make in this year's free agent market. Just go out there. Don't spend a ton of money. don't get a multi-year contract for these relievers, but a 1-year deal that nets you some kind of a prospect at the deadline, I think that would be a great move for this team.
I'm fine with it. I just don't know how many of those guys you're going to get, because I think if it's on the table 1 year with the Cardinals, who's going to move me, versus a multi-year deal or on a contending team, if they could pull it off, great, because that's really smart decisions behind Bloom. Don't go sign a multi-year contract on a bullpen arm.
Agreed.
Yeah, they need to be looking for their next Andrew Kittredge, Phil Maton.
Yeah.
That's the deal. And it can be more than just $2 million, but that's what you're looking for, the 1 year guys.
And I wouldn't do Ryan Helsley, because I don't know if a team would trade for Ryan Helsley at the deadline. Even if he's great this year, teams are going to be scared off from Ryan Helsley.
Maybe. If the stuff ticks up, I could see it maybe getting back to where it was this year. But, yeah, they need to go make up. I would recommend making a bet on one of those pitchers. God,
Click that off.
Get out of here.
What's he doing?
Pete Thamel's once again on
drink.
ESPN talking about
Where's
the top
he
head
going?
coaching
LSU.
candidates for LSU. They've got Lane Kiffin, Jeff Brom, Eli Drinkwitz,
He
and
should
John
consider that
Summerall.
job.
LSU and Florida?
He could win a title there.
4 top options for them.
By the way,
I don't know how you come out of this on the other side on a positive note, man.
I
might see tears.
I don't know that this guy's a realistic option either on this list, but I love number 9. I have no idea how to say his name, but he's getting posted from over in Japan. Undersized, right-handed starter, 5'11", 154, 7 years, $154 million guy that has a fastball mid-90s and a nasty slider, screams a Cardinal.
Great. Sounds good.
Screams KK again. Remember how that went? Mike Schilt told him he was in the bullpen.
He got like a 1 or a 2 year deal. I think he got a 2-year deal. This is a 7-year, $150 million
which means this guy can pitch, not like KK.
Sounds like KK.
Alongside Alex and T-Bone on BK, we'll hit the rewind coming up next.
Tanner Hendrickson here to tell you about my friends at DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, which is coming soon here to the Show Me State. New Missouri customers can download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today, and when we go live, place just a $5 bet to unlock $300 in bonus bets. You can sign up starting November 17th as you can create that DraftKings Sportsbook account here in Missouri and get ready for launch day on December 1st. DraftKings Sportsbook brings everything you need to elevate your game day, including live in-game betting, lightning-fast payouts, and endless ways to get in on the action, all right from your phone. And when DraftKings Sportsbook goes live in Missouri, you'll be betting with the Sportsbook app trusted by millions. Safe, secure, and has fast money withdrawals. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and grab $300 in bonus bets with just a $5 bet when we go live December 1st. In partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Excludes customers who redeem pre-launch sign-up offer. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
Hey, if you missed anything from today's show, be sure to check it out on the podcast page, 101ESPN.com, and the free 101 ESPN app is where you go to find it. It's all sponsored by
Schaefer Door Company.
It's 1:54. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. It's the last week to enter the Tee It Up with TMA giveaway presented by Michelob Ultra. Are you ready to hit the fairway with the crew from TMA? Well, one lucky winner and a guest, Alex, will score a free round of golf with Tim and Jackson of TMA at Fox Run Golf Club. It's your chance to hang out and enjoy a laid-back round with Tim and Jackson. Use the promo code SWING, that's SWING, to get entered to win now at either 101ESPN.com or on the free 101 mobile app. Must be 21. Tee it up with TMA giveaways, courtesy of Michelob Ultra Superior Light Beer. All right, Alex, to finish off the show today, we'll get back into the St. Louis Blues, who are in action this evening. You'll be out there at Enterprise Center for the Blues versus the Detroit Red Wings, hoping to get things back on track after another rough showing last night. Lose 6-3. They've lost and given up at least 6 goals in each of their past 3 games. Jake Neighbours will not be on the ice. He's out for at least the next 5 weeks, according to the team. What are you watching for in this one, Alex?
Man, honestly, just life from the Blues. Jim Montgomery basically stated going into that game last night that the Blues will come out and check their asses off, and they did not, which is concerning because the head coach is telling the players what it's going to take to win hockey games, and they're not putting it in action on the ice. This is going to be a massive blow to this team without Jake Neighbours. I have no idea if Thomas is playing tonight. I guess you hope that it's a good sign that they didn't call anybody up, that Robert Thomas would be available tonight, but day to day, so you don't know. You're just looking for life from this team right now. Jake Neighbours is one of the guys that every single night you know what you're getting, no matter the state of the player or the team. They need that now from more players. I thought Dylan Holloway played a really good game last night. Now you got to carry it over. I thought Logan Mayhew had a good game. Now you need to be more consistent with it. And you need your goaltending. So good news is Binnington had a full day off. You get to take on Detroit. I'm sure they're going to be pissed off at how that last game went. But, man, you got to dig yourself out of this hole before you get too deep and buried in it.
Yeah, and I would say it's the cliche answer. Do you start on time, right? Do they get off to a fast start?
It's one of my keys to the game tonight.
I'd like to turn on the game at 7:15 and then not be 2-0 by the time that we get there,
7:16 it might be 2-0. 7:15
That's what I'm hoping. I don't
We
see
normally joke about it. It's real tonight.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, even if you get off to the fast start, but you don't find a way to capitalize, you give up a goal 10 minutes into the first period, but you dominated for 10 minutes. What's the response? What do they look like when, okay, maybe you did have momentum, and all of a sudden, like a weird puck bounce, or maybe, maybe Binnington he should have had a save, but he doesn't make the save. You just, roll over and die? Do you let the snowball continue, or is there going to be some fight and that you're going to see them come back? That's the other thing that I'll have an eye on if they give up the first goal.
I'm putting all my focus on the top players. Benner, Parayko plus Fowler, and then the top 6 offensively with your forwards. Those are the players that have the pressure on them to me. And I want to see how they respond. I want to see how they respond to last night. I want to see how they respond to the Jake Neighbours news. I want to see how they respond to the adversity that's clearly hitting them right now. So we'll see what that looks like tonight for the Blues versus the Red Wings. You'll be able to hear that right here on 101 ESPN pregame starting at 6. Blue Jays versus the Dodgers tonight. Shane Bieber on the mound for the Blue Jays. It'll be Shohei Ohtani on the mound for the Dodgers. You guys got
Dodgers in 9, I should say.
Yeah, I don't think this one's going extras tonight.
If I get home and that game's in extras, I swear.
I think you see a quality start from Ohtani. Probably drives in a run knowing him.
No, he's going to get walked.
I'm going to go Dodgers win. I'll say it's 5-1.
I think it'll be a shorter start for both sides of things tonight. And I know that's not what they're looking for, but, man, these guys might be exhausted. Like, Shane Bieber got up and started getting warm a little bit last night. Shohei Ohtani was talking postgame about how he wanted to go to bed as quickly as possible to start his routine for today.
That's impossible.
He's very regimented with what he does. I don't think he's going to get as deep into this one as he has with some of his previous starts, but I do think that the Dodgers will get the victory and go up 3-1 in the World Series, forcing a potential series clincher on Wednesday. We'll discuss all of that tomorrow at 11 a.m. For Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. We'll talk to you guys then. The Fast Lane's coming up next year on 101 ESPN.